Welcome to FS1 College Football, sponsored by Edward Jones. In this town of 100,000 or so, Lawrence, Kansas, there is hope as far as the eye can see. And this morning, Kansas and TCU both met sunrise undefeated.
The dream season will continue. A 5-0 start.
Make sure that we shout out the Kansas Jayhawks. We got them ranked. Well, they did it because they're undefeated.
Horse-Frogs in impressive fashion roll up 668 yards of total offense. They'll celebrate this victory.
Not only did my students lose, Dex Christian, they got blown out.
Going against a really good Kansas football team, a team that I have a tremendous respect for.
Lance Leipold has won every single place he's been. He's building a winning culture at Kansas. This is legit.
We still have to prove it every week, and with success it even becomes even bigger and more magnified, good or bad.
We here, new era. You heard it, new era. Let's go.
The previous era had 5 wins in a season last in 2009, so you can't blame the voters, right? There's no first place vote for Kansas or for TCU, but right now in the Big 12, which is totally up for grabs, it is the Jayhawks, it's some purple, and TCU is involved with their new head coach as well, Sonny Dykes. Look, this is a scene here in Lawrence today. Beautiful sunshine. Jason Benetti, Brock Heward, Allison Williams, our entire crew. And look, Kansas, you heard it in the video package. The culture has changed because of Lance Leipold.
Yeah, we hear that word thrown around so much in college football, but they live it here. Spending the day as we did yesterday with team and players and staff. Off the field, they've got it. You feel the glue. You feel the likability with one another. But more importantly, and why we're here, is because of what they're doing on the field. That love is genuine. It is real. But on the field, Jason, I love even more what they're coaching and teaching. And when you have a staff that's been together as long as Lance Leipold's staff has, through stops at Wisconsin Whitewater, rebuild in Buffalo, coming here, they do more with less, and you're seeing that week in and week out.
It's what every school wants from a coaching change, and that includes what TCU has done as well. Sonny Dykes has them undefeated, and a quarterback in Max Duggan who didn't have the job to start the year.
Yeah, this was not supposed to be his team. It's a new staff. You're going to go with the younger quarterback, and Max Duggan said, no, I'm going to get my opportunity, and I'm not going to look back. And that opportunity came week 1 with an injury to the starter, Chandler Morris. He came in, and all he's done is lead college football in pass efficiency. You see the numbers against OU a week ago with his arm and with his legs. And I think as a senior, most importantly, what Max has learned is it's not about him. It's about distributing to everybody around him. And man alive, do they have some speed and length on the perimeter.
Speed all day here, and Kansas will show it. Here come the Jayhawks in the Sunflower State. Years ago, Kansas went to the Orange Bowl. They're hoping for a big end to this year as well. TCU Kansas kickoffs next. Welcome to FS1 College Football, sponsored by Edward Jones. Life is for living. Let's partner for all of it. There is some sorcery afoot in Lawrence, Kansas. They're off to see the playoff, the wonderful college football playoff. You see that Gold Avenue they're walking along back in 2007. Todd Reesing, Brandon McAnderson. Everything was very sunny, but then, oh boy, Kansas wasn't so pretty anymore. And then a house fell on them with their red-colored spikes. 12 straight losing seasons. Kansas, though, is not the same Kansas. They're going off to that jade-colored urban area to celebrate with the Sorcerer with a 5-0 record, ranked for the first time since 2009. It has been a tornado of fun here in Kansas, and downstairs for more on the culture change, here's Allison Williams.
Well, Jason, there's no place like home for the Jayhawks, who have drawn the national attention of college football right here to Lawrence. So the challenge this week for Coach Leipold and his staff is to find that balance. He wants his guys to have fun and soak it all in. They've earned this moment, but he also needs them to remember what got them here, the way they work and prepare. And he tells his guys, whether it's the scoreboard during the game or the standings during the week, it doesn't matter. The approach has to be the same, and really hoping his guys just come out and play fast today. Now, the players I talked to, they said the coaches didn't have to say much. This is an older team. Guys know what the focus needs to be. Safety Kenny Logan saying we can't get caught up in the hype. We got to keep the main thing. And running back Devin Neal said what makes all this attention is special is it puts this program in a positive light and allows us to show the work we've put in. But our mentality doesn't change. There's no getting complacent. We want more.
Well, they know what it's like before this.
Yep.
They know that feeling of how to be down. And let's take a look at team goals presented by Edward Jones. Life is for living. Let's partner for all of it. What do you see?
Well, TCU wanted the ball. They won the toss. They want the ball. They distribute it. They average 11 different guys with the reception. That's second in America. And it was a point of emphasis from Garrett Riley yesterday, their offensive coordinator. And for Kansas, on the flip side, you got to make them earn it. Do not give up what Oklahoma did a week ago, which was big play. After big play, after big play. Keep it in front of you. Go fly around, feed off the energy of this stands, and make TCU take the long field.
Soak it in. Biggest game here in a decade and a half. Kansas and TCU, and we are underway. And Amari DiMercato takes it out of the end zone, and Kansas will have them down at the 23-yard line. So we talked a little bit about Max Duggan, the senior out of Council Bluffs, Iowa. His dad was his high school football coach, 73 touchdowns at TCU. He had been the starting quarterback 29 games worth. He lost the job in camp, got it back because of injury, and he's playing truly, according to his head coach, Sonny Dykes, his best football that he has ever seen.
Son of a coach, you often fight perfectionism. This year more than ever, he's cutting it loose.
His tailback is Kendre Miller, and he's not going to need him on a first down throw, and he's got it for Quentin Johnston. They wanted to get him the ball. They got him there for 15.
Yeah, he's not scored a touchdown this year. One of the freakiest athletes out on the perimeter we have in college football. It's 6'4". I would expect his number to be called an awful lot this afternoon.
He was on Bruce Feldman's freaks list. This is the first run. It is Kendre Miller, and here is the TCU starting lineup. Alon Ali is the center. He's a transfer from SMU. He came over with Sonny Dykes. We mentioned Quentin Johnston as well with that first catch. Kendre Miller, a dynamic tailback. 7.5 yards a carry for Miller. This is Duggan to run. He's very willing to do that, and he leans for a first down against this Kansas Jayhawks defense, including Lonnie Phelps, who has 5 sacks as a transfer from Miami of Ohio. At the second level, Rich Miller, who wasn't even a starter at Buffalo for them, has really come into his own here. And in the secondary, Kobe Bryant, who is truly a confident cover corner, going to be tested today. First down, a run. Miller keeps his feet. He's whirling across the 35-yard line. It took Burrows and Logan to knock him down.
I had to double check my notes. 7.4 yards a carry. Not last week, in his career.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not fluky stuff here after 3 years. He is powerful, man. 220 pounds. And if you throw a shoulder like the Jayhawks just did, he'll run through it.
7'5" last year, 7'2" the year before in his 3 seasons at TCU. First down throw, Duggan, clean pocket. It is Johnston on the cross. He breaks a tackle, and there goes Johnston with that athleticism as he's finally tackled.
On this opening drive, that's 3 missed tackles already for Kansas. And Quentin Johnson and the Horned Frogs created 27 of those a week ago. A staggering number, but that's how you blow Oklahoma out. A lot of that had to do with the fundamentals of Oklahoma, but I think you're seeing on this opening drive, it has something to do with the athleticism across the board of TCU too.
You ever seen 27 missed
Never.
tackles? Gain of 7, 2nd and 3. They will run it once again. And right across that line to gain, DeMercado, Jeremy Robinson the stop.
That's not true. Puyallup, Clover Park, 96.
Did you create them,
No.
or were you involved in the missed tackle?
Watched them.
Yeah, 27 forced.
We said that number to Garrett Riley yesterday, and he couldn't believe it. What? I mean, how? Yeah, that is. There's a good look at Garrett. Yeah, you know his older brother. He'll be calling plays tonight as the head man at USC. Tremendous football coaches.
Motion with Tay Barber. They will hand it off, and finally a negative play for the Kansas defense there. DeMercado is hit by Wilson.
Here's the positive for Kansas, and I love those spectacles.
Oh, yeah.
Chuck Muncie style. They will rotate, as you're seeing right now. They will, like a hockey line, bring 4 new guys in, something they've not been able to do in this program in a good 15 years.
Malcolm Lee and Lonnie Phelps, the defensive ends who just came on. Second down, they'll give him 10. And it's a run for Duggan, and he is hit again by Kenny Logan, who's been very active in that secondary so far.
He's their best defensive player. He is the eraser. He's the backstop. He led the Big 12 in tackles a year ago, and he wants the faithful to rise.
Oh, he's the conductor of this crowd. The motion from Williams, nice blitz pickup, and it's incomplete. He wanted Williams, man. DeMercado gave him a clean pocket, but Duggan missed.
You see the pressure right away. A good pickup, excuse me there, good pickup by DeMercado to come across and pick up the blitzing linebacker. Plenty of time, plenty of space. That's a throw and catch they have made consistently through the first 4 games of this season. Do not execute on that third down.
Catchable ball, though.
It was.
Griffin Kell from 39, just his second attempt. He's been dealing with some injuries this year, and this one is sharp. Opening drive score for TCU, but Jalen Daniels, a two-way player. He can run, he can pass, and he's got a great personality. We'll tell you about him next. Part of Task Force Spartan in support of Operation Spartan Shield, 35th Infantry Division, with a great shout out. And I love the pride that they can show for the Kansas football program here after winning a basketball national title. And this offense will have the ball for the first time. Jalen Daniels, who decided not to use his red shirt last year, wanted to finish the season under-recruited out of the Los Angeles area. In his career, 19 touchdowns, 8 picks, very fleet of foot. And talking to him and people about him around this program, he has bounce, he has flair, and he has a 1,000-watt smile.
I don't think I've ever said this analysis, but the more teeth today, the better. That means he's smiling because his smile is effervescent, man, and it changes a room.
He barks out the first call, and off we go. You'll see Jalen Daniels cutting upfield and undercut by Abe Kamara. Here's the offensive lineup for the Kansas Jayhawks. Mike Nowitzki has been a major part of the rebuild here at Kansas, coming over from Buffalo at center. He taught the other guys the offensive line scheme on the way in last year. Devin Neal might have to shoulder more of the load with Daniel Highshaw out today after leading the game on a cart last week against Iowa State. Neal's been here a long time. He was a Les Miles recruit as Daniels on the roll, scanning and throwing, and this is caught. First down, Lawrence Arnold with the grab.
Yeah, these two have developed an awfully nice connection through 5 games. Lawrence Arnold is a big target. It's 6'3", and I love the patience, right? The eyes downfield, chaos all around him, doesn't matter, and he sticks it right on the number 2 of his big receiver. This crew, not as fast as TCU offensively. Right? They're not going to run by people, but they're going to use QB run. They're going to run the option like mad, and they're going to trust their big-bodied receivers to block out DBs like that.
When Skinner, number 83, is 6'5" on the perimeter. There's the tight end Fairchild in motion. He's a big dude as well. Daniels gets eaten up in the backfield by Mark Perry, the Colorado transfer. This is a 3-3-5 defense, including Dominic Williams, who opened the season at 17 years old in the middle of it.
320-pound true freshman right there. Not many true freshman nose tackles in America. Eats up a lot of space. D. Winters can flat out fly. Leading tackler a year ago. This system fits his skill set very well. Hodges Tomlinson, kind of like Brian on the other side, game-changing corners. You better be careful when you're throwing their way.
No gain officially, 2nd and 10 for Daniels. He will throw, and he launches to the near side. That is incomplete. He wanted Arnold again, and it's Josh Newton whooping up the opposing crowd with his coverage.
Yeah, Newton, a transfer like many on both of these teams this year, comes from Louisiana Monroe, and he's kind of playing off Hodges Tomlinson on the other side. Travius just has an athletic arrogance to him at corner, and you're seeing as this year's grown, Newton really take on some of that same persona.
Former high school wide receiver Newton. Hey, Kansas is 3rd in the nation in 3rd down and 7 or longer. This is 3rd and 10. Daniels climbing and throwing for the sideline, incomplete for Skinner. Good coverage again from the secondary, and TCU. Mark Perry and Josh Foster over there.
Yeah, you're going to see just the speed. TCU's going to trust at the perimeter level here. Okay, you're going to see right away you don't win, but they're going to trust that their athleticism can compensate. That's a ball that's got to be about a yard further. You get that ball a yard further, you probably draw the penalty flag, because there's going to be even more contact. A couple deep shots go the way of TCU on that opening drive.
Reese Vernon to punt. Darius Davis, tremendous, scary returner. 4 punt return touchdowns for his career. He doesn't feel the backside heat. A lot of Jayhawks are out of the play. Now Davis will try and make something of it. They finally have him corralled inside the 25. That felt like it might take 8:25. Thought that might be the end of the first quarter, the way he was going. Max Duggan in the offense will come back out. TCU with a confident opening drive for 3. Francis Schmidt was known for his razzle-dazzle offense that featured laterals and reverses and things of that nature. Sonny Dykes inventive offensively as well, and he said that when he came to TCU in 2017 as an assistant, as an analyst, he got his confidence back as a head coach, and you can see it with this TCU team.
He knows you can recruit speed, and look at those offensive numbers. Amazing prowess to begin the year.
Big plays galore last week. Duggan with time. He loads up and he throws, and he's got Johnston in space across the 40 into Kenny Logan, and a first down TCU.
That play took a long time. They often call this cross country because you're running from one sideline all the way to the other, and it takes the guys up front to hold those blocks 2, 3, 4 seconds. They do the job up front. Another chunk passing play there for Johnston.
Both teams substituted. TCU brought in the freshman wide receiver Jordan Hudson. Kansas changed defensive lineman again. It's a draw, and it is Miller, and he's eaten up by the 25-year-old Sam Burt.
Yeah, nice little line stunt there from Burt and Phelps, and there may be a lot of new faces here at Kansas, but not that guy. He's been around, married, 6th year. They say maybe going after his doctorate. He's been here so long in Lawrence, but one of those glue guys for Lance Leipold. You can bring in talent, you can have a flashy quarterback making plays, but those gritty nose tackles that do the dirty work, man, just like Burt.
We asked Kenny Logan how old he is. He said 40. Just about 7 to go here in the first. Duggan to throw, and he's got another completion to Darius Davis this time. It'll be 3rd down and short.
This is the plan, man. Go ahead, let him distribute. TCU's doing their thing. On the other side for Kansas, don't give up the good play. Keep things in front of you. Make them earn it and sustain it. And then when you get down to the red zone, try to do what you did on the previous possession and hold them to 3.
Kansas forces about 3 10-play drives a week in their 5-0 start. 3rd and 1. It's Miller, and he's dragged back. Robinson got his clutches on him, but the pile lunges forward. And let's see, it looks like he is going to have the first down.
That is all 33, man. That is called a weight room run. Why those running backs put the weight on the squats and get in the rack so that when there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 pounds on your shoulders right here. You've got 3 Jayhawks all pulling all that weight. And there's the strength to push that pile forward.
Center Alon Ali was dragging him too like a tow truck. Play action. Duggan sees pressure, gets out of it, and wide open greenery for Duggan, who's across the 40-yard line.
Some pretty good pressure. Been talking about that offensive line early, but watch the D-line. Right? They're the aggressor. They're in the face of Duggan. But this is the wild card that he has. Wild card weekend. This is with the X factor that he can bring, man, and he doesn't slide. If you want him to protect himself, you want him to slide, it is not going to happen for the kid from Council Bluffs, Iowa.
You got more chance of doing that in the division series coming up next week here on Fox. Getting a slide out of them. 5:20 to go in the first. 3-0 TCU and another long drive. This is Miller, and this time Rich Miller stands him up with some help from Marvin Grant. Third down and short. Very short. These fans have waited a long time to be part of downs like this. It is Miller, and he looks a little bit short based on our line on the screen. Malcolm Lee got in there.
Boy, this is an excellent play from Malcolm Lee. He pulled the trigger. He's going to be on the far side here, and he's going to come all the way around. Keep an eye on that one. I think you're going to see in the next short yardage, Mr. Duggan is going to keep that ball as aggressive as Lee was coming down to make the play, which he was. Containing an active quarterback will be critical down the road.
This is a guaranteed go for it. 4th and 1 inside the 40. DeMercado is in, and he is stonewalled. Marvin Grant gets a Kansas stop. Grant and Dotson from the secondary hold the line for Kansas, and this place is up for grabs. Champions in college basketball, Ochai Agbaji, Christian Brown, Bill Self got another title to come back from 15 down to beat North Carolina, the second championship for Bill Self, and some luminaries here. Wayne Simeon, among other basketball legends here in Lawrence, to watch the football program with its biggest game in, you could argue, 15 years. They have the ball for the second time. Kai Thomas, the tailback, and it's Jalen Daniels on the move, flowing to the right, and he decides to throw it out of bounds. You're surprised by all the passes so far for Kansas?
I am a little bit, and we have not yet seen the option game, which has been so critical. Urban Meyer did a terrific breakdown in Big Noon kickoff today about the option game in this facilitator, Jalen Daniels, in that game. He's got long arms. He is patient, does a great job attacking the edge, and they run as much old school option, not triple option like the military schools, old school speed option, dive option, more of it than anybody in college football, and we've really yet to see it thus far.
2 running plays only for Kansas. There it is. It is Neal across the 40-yard line, off the block from Lachlan. Downstairs, Allison.
Well, in order for the passing game for Kansas to have success, they have to win those one-on-ones on the perimeter. There's so much speed for that TCU defense that the point of emphasis for the Kansas wide receivers is to win with physicality. They're being told on the sidelines, you're going to be fighting all day. You got to go and make the play. Don't be looking for the call. You got to play through that contact.
And to that point, Allison Kamara, the safety as well. The corners, safeties, 3 safeties there for TCU. Very physical players.
Changing the play here.
which they do a fair amount of.
Daniels wants to run for the first down, and he got sideswiped by Jamoy Hodge.
Boy, and there is nowhere to throw the football. I mean, this is multiple occasions now for Jalen on these opening drives where he's like, man, there were a lot more space early in the season. Look at the coverage on the back end. Look at some of the eyes of D. Winters and the linebackers, Jamoy Hodge, that are looking. They're not spies. They're in zone coverage. They're tight on the perimeter. The eyes are into the backfield, and there's nowhere to go for Jalen Daniels.
Now it's the backup long snapper on right now, Emery Duggar for Kansas. That one does get back to Vernon, and he gets it away. Trying to kick away from Darius Davis, and he's eventually just sort of flown out of bounds on the coverage by Skinner. Net of 45 for the Kansas punt. TCU gets it back, and it continues in the Pac-12. Number 11 Utah on the road for Dorian Thompson-Robinson and UCLA off their big win against Washington. Sorry, Brock. Then 7:30 Eastern, Washington State against number 6 USC from the Coliseum. It's all on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
12, a little like the Big 12. Everybody didn't think they'd had contenders before the season. Played some good football.
USC Utah coming next week, by the way. Duggan to throw, and he goes for the running back Miller, who is absolutely driven down by Rich Miller.
That's just, again, terrific defensive team football. Previous drive, it was Marvin Grant and Dotson on the 4th down. That time it is Miller, O.J. Burrows flying out of the secondary as well. It's going to take the full complement. It's going to take everybody. And if you're TCU, by the way, they've subbed a bunch. They want to play fast, but because they're subbing, they're allowing a new group of Jayhawk defenders on that D-line to come in, and it's slowing this game down.
Fast-moving first quarter. Duggan to throw. They go to the wide receiver screen, and Johnston, who navigates his way across the 15. There have been games this year where he hasn't seen the ball very much. They've made a concerted effort this first quarter.
They have, and again, a third and very manageable. You can run it, you can throw it. And if you're Kansas, you've got to pay off that tremendous punt with a 3-and-out here.
On 3rd and 5. Duggan over the middle, got it for Johnston. That was an absolute laser and a first down.
And young wide receivers out there, when you're running across the field, this is the critical component here. Watch Johnson come down the line. If he drifts, that ball is knocked down, maybe intercepted. That is a confident throw, trusting that receiver to come flat downhill.
Duggan under siege, and it's the sack leader, Lonnie Phelps.
Man, was that ever good. Look at this heavy swim move coming inside from Phelps right here. Now his 6th of the season as he runs through 2 TCU Horned Frogs. That is Nichols, who comes in and rotates at right tackle. Ali, the center, tries to help, but they can't get into the way of the force that is Lonnie Phelps.
Transfer from the MAC. Guy with a chip on his shoulder, said Lance Leipold. Another tackle in space. Craig Young drives down Imani Bailey, and this crowd's really in it.
Who are these Jayhawks?
They're 5-0, Brock. And they look like it, too, defensively. Life is for living. Let's partner for all of it. Having been to Allen Fieldhouse for an 11 a.m. game, the acoustics aren't as good outdoors here, but it sounds like it. Last time they beat a ranked team was 12 years ago against Georgia Tech. Striking distance here, down 3-0. TCU, 3rd and 22. Duggan climbing and running to get some of the yardage. Oh, he wanted the first down. At one moment there, he went from let me get a couple to let me get that line.
Well, you can ask Oklahoma a week ago. He's got jets, 100, 200, 400-meter runner in high school, and he's a 4-5 guy. And you saw it a week ago. He could bust angles on the back end, and for about the 4th time today, no slide from number 15.
Well, he's not gonna. If he didn't do it in the first quarter, he's not gonna do it later in the game. O.J. Burrows back to receive the punt from Jordy Sandy, who has been a fair catch machine so far this year, and he remains so. Let's get to know Jalen Daniels. You and I were fortunate to do so with our crew, Allison, yesterday. Again, a megawatt smile, but he came from not a whole lot of stars in terms of recruiting circuit. He won a state title as a junior in high school in his first season at Lawndale. 3-star recruit. He was going to Middle Tennessee State, and he just couldn't get the attention of folks from around the country. But then he comes here to Kansas, started 6 games as a true freshman, got knocked around. They didn't win a game that year, but then they felt it turn last year.
His smile and his energy is contagious. Got to get a first down, though, to start feeling it on the field.
That's when the confidence really pops, we were told by Kenny Logan, his teammate downstairs, Allison.
Well, and to that point, Jason, Kenny told us he can tell when Jalen's starting to feel it, and I think he is, guys, and not because of anything the offense has done, but what the defense has done. You could see he was feeding off their big stop that they came up with, and he came over and had told his guys with that little smirk, that bounce in his step. He's looked at his guys, he repeated several times, we got to go right now. I think he's starting to feel it.
Wonder what that looks like in terms of play calls here. It is interesting, though, that he fed off the defense. 2nd down and 7 for Kansas after the gain of 3. Ty Thomas has checked in, the Minnesota transfer, with a lethal stiff arm and a first down at midfield. Josh Foster got a face full of hand.
You want to talk about creating a missed tackle, you do it with your own force right there. And Mark Perry gets these running backs. You got to bring it on both sides. These secondary players, there will be no gimme tackle whatsoever. Thomas been banged up, missed the last couple games. They felt like he may be a difference maker in training camp. He's coming back to full speed.
He shoved away both Perry and Foster, who took him to the paint. First down for Kansas. We'll see if they have a bit of that swagger now. Daniels, quick release, right on target. Luke Grimm, first down, and then some across the 40. I think Allison was right, Brock.
Just a little hitch route in the slot here. They find the space. Kansas does a lot of things pretty darn well offensively. Andy Kotelnicki, fun to talk with him yesterday. He's worked his way up right alongside Lance Leipold and the rest of this staff. And just watching and preparing this week, there's a ton of different offense. And yet these guys all run it very effectively.
His message was, we avoid bad football, penalties, turnovers, sacks, things like that. On a first down, it's a run for Neal. He got a block from Bostic, and Neal to the 31 with Newton tackling him.
Well, this is the center of it, though. Kotelnicki, the OC, is an old center himself. And this offense, when it gets going, it starts inside out. Right, whether it's going to be in the option game with that dive man inside, they are going to lean. And against a speedy defense, Jason, like TCU, I think you're already seeing that, right? These shots down the field or things on the perimeter. I don't think that's where you're going to win this game. It's going to be with Nowitzki and crew in the trenches there between the tackles that you have to attack first.
Hits the option to the short side, and Daniels has that blown up. Nice play defensively by TCU and Jamoy Hodge to set up 3rd and 4.
And once again, there's that team speed, right? This 3-down defensive line. You do that so you create extra defenders at the 2nd and 3rd level, and when you have as much speed as Hodge and Winters and Kamara, they run down those plays laterally very well.
This might be go-for-it territory for Kansas. This is 3rd down from just outside of the 30. Call it 3rd and 4. Run that orbit motion again, and the ball's on the deck on the mesh with Thomas. The ball is loose, and there's still a scrum for it at the bottom of that pile. Now Newton's reaction makes me think Kansas has it, but we will see. 4th down.
And this is some of the challenge. This has been high shot the last couple weeks. You see a high mesh point And you see Daniels trying to, I think, pull that ball out, right? But there's a little bit of the indecision. And Kai Thomas, a new piece in there. That was nearly catastrophic, and indeed they are going forward on fourth.
There's a rhythm to that mesh, right?
No question about it, and a trust between QB and running back as well.
4th down and 5 for Kansas. Daniels could throw a little loft to it, and it's dislodged from Skinner. Incomplete. Abe Kamara turned that ball into a projectile. Nice play.
And that man said about Abe Kamara, that's the D coordinator, Joe Gillespie, he'll put his face in a fan, and he stuck it right through the rib cage right there to dislodge the 4th down attempt.
TCU Joe Gillespie won a state title in high school at Stephenville, and he is amped because of his safety, Kamara.
Man, his 3 down front right now, and this crew defensively is flying across the field.
Came over from Tulsa after 7 years there, and a good strong run from Kendre Miller on 1st down into Lorenzo McCaskill. Be 2nd down about 1.
Now, I'm going to guess there was a little conversation on that sideline about the guys up front. Started out fast, protecting Max Duggan. They've allowed a little bit too much penetration. That was more like the TCU O-line we have seen in the month of September.
Experienced offensive line for Garrett Riley as Miller goes weaving, and he is dropped behind the line to gain. Lonnie Phelps got in there initially, and it is 3rd down.
And that's just Avila, the left guard, that is beat. It is that penetration from that crew. There's a good look at Garrett Riley trying to figure this thing out on 3rd down. I think this whole staff knew those silly numbers they put up right through the first month of the season. You get into conference play, gets a little more difficult. You could see the path there for Garrett with his brother at ECU. Lincoln is here as a QB coach. He's sure done an excellent job to begin this season.
Had an important year at App State, 1 year with Eli Drinkwitz there as TCU calls a timeout at 3-0. 2 of the top 6 teams in scoring touchdowns in the country. And of course, it's 3-0.
Okay, I'm an alien.
If you're making a sci-fi movie, you need to finish the special effects.
Does that look good?
And if you want to
It's over here. I mean, we got 4 there. What kind of Connect 4 are we playing in Lawrence?
It must be Connect 5, Brock. They're 5-0, all right? Second quarter, this place has been loud all day long. 3rd and 3, TCU. And out of a timeout, a marker comes in, our first for referee Steve Barron.
What'd you say, biggest game in 15 years in this building? I think Allison could measure it in decibel levels as well. It's never sounded like this. Certainly for Wes Ayers, played a ton of ball. He's played here before. On a 3rd down, they have been cranked up. That's a big 5-yard penalty.
Kansas comes with 5. Duggan gets out of it. Pressure from the backside, and Lonnie Phelps again the recovery. He came back to make that play.
Well, the first sack was all about him, and it was just beating 2 guys up front. This is about the coverage on the back end. This is a sneaky good coverage team. They've grown in confidence. And then this was all about effort for Lonnie Phelps. He just simply retracts his steps here. Duggan's trying to get that coverage downfield, create enough space to run, but Phelps once again delivers.
TCU only 7 3-and-outs all season as Kansas gets it back. And TCU still hasn't allowed a punt return so far this year. Jayhawks will have it in sunny Lawrence, which has been absolutely building, involving 2 undefeated teams. Ernie Davis and Ben Schwartzwalder were here with Syracuse in a game that also involved the under.
I can guarantee you there weren't 45 tuba players in the band.
You don't think
52? No.
The stadium got built about 40 years prior to that, by the way. Fog Allen was involved in that, the former basketball coach, as Neal gets wrangled on the outside. He gets dropped hard by Marcel Brooks.
Yeah, add him to that linebacker list of guys who can really go. He was a 5-star to LSU, did not work out there. I think the crowd wanted a face mask, a horse collar. It was neither of those. It was just Brooks, like all of these linebackers have done on both sides today, playing full speed.
They used him a little bit as a wide receiver last year. Now back in the lineup. Daniels the fake. Down the middle. Oh, beautiful adjustment by Fairchild. Mason Fairchild whirling and catching downfield for 48.
Mason Fairchild is 260 pounds. And this looks like as good a center field play as you're going to ever make. I can't tell you how hard that is. That's hard to do for the most athletic of wide receivers, to flip their head. And Jalen knows it. That was an incredible job by Fairchild to flip the shoulders, flip the hips, and make his quarterback look good.
He's used to spinning. He throws the shot put, and he pivoted beautifully there. Devin Neal skates to the outside. He got a block from Arnold. Neal inside the 10.
Devin Neal. You know what he got from Arnold? He got 2 blocks. Arnold so wins on the perimeter here on the outside. Watch this. He takes 2. To Allison's report earlier, to those wide receivers to be physical, right? You have got to fight out on the edge. He doesn't just beat his man. He takes 2 to set up the run down the sideline.
How excellent was that?
This is not your old Kansas. Just in case you were wondering, we're not trying to spin a tail. The tape shows it.
Defensive grit leads to the best drive of the day for the Jayhawks. Inside the 10, it is Neal, and he's cut down by Kamara. 2nd and goal.
And there's that inside run, and I think you're now setting perimeter up. Right, you've got to show that inside pitch to that defense, and then you can use the rest of the field. And times like these, boy, I sure love the athleticism of Jalen Daniels. Give him the corner, give him space to operate.
Late substitution for TCU. Kai Thomas is the tailback next to Daniels. More motion. They'll run it. Daniels inside, tried to hurdle. He is very close. Did the ball come out as well? Looks like there's a beanbag on the ground. So the ball is out. He's about half a yard short of the goal line. Let's see. It is TCU football. Shadrack Banks came up with the ball. That was on the goal line and available.
Is a fumble recovered by the defense. It'll be first down, TCU.
Yeah, I said to put it in Jalen's hands, but man, is there a lot of chaos between the tackles. Get outside on the perimeter. You're not seeing that big smile right now. He knows how catastrophic that was down in the red zone. And for TCU, kind of like Kansas on the other side, they are playing team ball. You see Daniels right there, just too loose, right? I mean, you get amidst that chaos and that ferocity of humanity, and you can't just loosey-goosey dive. You can't extend that ball out. It's got to be tight to your body, because the Shadrack Banks, the Marcel Brooks, the D winners, they are coming to knock that ball out.
It was a dive that looked like it was early for the goal line. He was seeking the goal line, and it wasn't there yet in the windshield. Turnover on downs and a fumble. The last 2 drives for Kansas, and now TCU from 99 yards away in the plains of the Midwest. Down the middle, got some of it, and Johnston wants a lot of it. Johnston in open space, dragging Kansas across the Jayhawk logo.
I think they wanted to get Quentin Johnson involved today. And that is the softest cushion we have seen. Oh, I get it, keep it in front of you. But that was just way too easy of a pitch and catch. And there's your Bruce Feldman's freak list. And I said, uh-oh, 3 times, because that was nearly 99.
What they say about him, he just loves to run. He runs everywhere. He runs in walk-through. It's a run-through for him. And he just went and ran again for 54 yards. Pressure again from Phelps. Quick release by Duggan. It's Johnston again. Tight roping and a jagged cut inside the 20.
I'm surprised we didn't see a hurdle to finish that off. He didn't get the 99 the first time, but once again, cushion, space. But the difference are the two missed tackles afterwards. They had make TCU earn it time and time again, but on this possession, they're not. Two back-to-back explosive plays, and you can't duck your head if you're Mello Dotson, or you're going to be reaching for air.
Well, he went high last time and got drug halfway across the field. Now he goes low, and he missed him. That's Johnston in motion. They want it in his hands. He's got it, flowing to the outside, and he is finally tackled by a couple of Jayhawks. Burrows was in there first.
Little surprised that wasn't Darius Davis, especially after two plays there by Quentin where he's up and down the field. Nice job by Burrows to pursue laterally and finish. But I think Garrett Riley had a very clear plan coming into this building facing a ranked undefeated team. I'm going to get the ball to my biggest difference maker and force feed it if I have to Quentin Johnson.
Career high 8 catches already. That's Davis in motion. And once again, Duggan ducks inside. Duggan twisting for the goal line, and he is down at the 1.
Max Duggan, the ball carrier.
I can't tell you how good that is, man. He wanted to throw it to Darius Davis. But look at the difference between the two QBs at the goal line. Look at the difference. Right, it was Jalen on the other side that tried to reach the ball out. Ooh, I think that elbow's down as the ball is just an inch short. But that's a senior. That's a 4-year starter that knows, hey man, there's green grass. I'm gonna put my head down, but I'm also gonna protect the football at the goal line.
First and goal from the 1. Duggan to throw. End zone incomplete for Jared Wiley. Whoa, how about that play?
Yeah, I don't mind it, but that's got to be right up by the goalpost to the 6-7 safety. That's danger there. Put it right up near the goalpost, and he's going to go snag it and get his foot in bounds for a touchdown. Max left that one a little bit short. Whenever that ball's up in the air as a QB, it is the worst feeling in the world.
Second and goal at the 1.
They've brought in the long snapper again, Matisic, to go I.
Power run earlier on the short yardage, it got stuffed.
Miller, this time he's in. Touchdown TCU. 99 yards in a heartbeat.
Number 33, Kendrick Miller.
Well, this time it was just an outside run coming right at you, right here. I'm not going to bring pullers around. I'm not going to let those defenders set the edge. We're going to go hit them first. That's how you pay off a takeaway at the 1-yard line. A catastrophic mistake, something we have not seen from these Jayhawks this season, certainly not from Jalen Daniels. And TCU says, you open the door, we'll go right through it, even if it's 99 yards down the field.
Cal's extra point is good. Kotelnicki, the offensive coordinator, said we avoid bad football, and they had for 25 minutes plus, but this one goes on the deck, sitting there to be grabbed. Instead, Johnston yanks a pass down, yanks the Jayhawks all the way downfield, and Miller pays it off. TCU's also unbeaten, and they're up 10. Touchdowns at 62 yards plus. They just went 99 yards in about 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, and it was pretty much the Quentin Johnson show. A little bit of Max Duggan, a little power to finish. You're just waiting for a game where Johnston's going to explode. And unfortunately for Kansas, it's this afternoon.
See what's coming up at the State Farm Halftime Report with Mike Hill.
Coming up on the State Farm Halftime, Texas and Oklahoma both need a big win in their Red River Showdown. 4th-ranked Michigan tries to remain unbeaten at Indiana. Plus, Tennessee and LSU clash in an SEC Top 25 matchup. We'll have it all for you at the half. Right now, Jason and Brock, back to you.
Thank you very much. Tightest game of those 3, Indiana-Michigan right now.
Really?
How about that? You'll see the highlights at halftime.
College football.
Never know. Kansas has had a full season of you never know.
Well, this is a big-time response time for the Jayhawks.
Sevion Morris in the tailback, and he does get the touch here. Right up the middle, breaking tackles. He went all the way through the car wash across the 35 and plus territory.
Kind of like the other side. Big plays come when you break tackles. And Sevion right here, the third Jayhawk to run it. That's a missed tackle. That's 2. That's 3. And that is a response. This team has been down. This has not been a dream story for Kansas. They've had to overcome 14-point deficit to West Virginia, 14-point deficit to Houston. They have played gritty, tough games. They've responded all season, and that sure helps after the previous possession.
Kai Thomas, after being down 14-0 in those games, they put up 48 points and 55 points. West Virginia and Houston. So second down here, 2.5 to go, and we'll see how they play it timeout-wise. They don't really care if time comes off the clock. They'd rather TCU not see the ball.
Yeah, and this is about number 6. This is about some more adversity for him. He has been flawless this season. Has it all been perfect? No, but as far as protecting the football, especially down in the scoring zone, this comes down to Jalen right here. And he's got to flush those negative plays behind him.
He will option it, and he pitches it. And this is Kai Thomas, knocked down by Hodges Tomlinson, third down.
About the range is 50 yards for a field goal. For Borchilla, the field goal kicker for Kansas. We saw them at about the same area of the field. 4-down territory for Lance Leipold. I think knowing you get the ball to begin the second half, these are some of the thoughts and conversation he's having right now. You gain some yards here, make it a manageable 4th down call. You may go for it.
Grimm, Arnold, and Skinner all in as receivers. That's a pump for Daniels. He does get it out wide, and he's got the completion for Grimm. Across the 25 and a first down for Luke Grimm, the sure-handed junior out of Missouri.
Yeah, this takes some guts in the pocket. You know you're going to get buried. You can feel the length of Dylan Horton and 280 pounds hitting you and the wherewithal to stand and deliver.
Daniels to throw. He goes to the tight end, the baseball player, Trevor Cardell, and it's second down. And we got a timeout, Kansas, which is interesting at a minute 4.
Their first charge timeout of the half. 30 seconds.
Why do you think you call that timeout, Brock?
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is you're trying to get everybody on the same page, right? You're trying to, how are we going to manage these last 64 seconds? There's a look at Andy Koldenicki, the offensive coordinator. What a neat guy to talk to. First time in my career of seeing Andy. And you know, the continuity of this staff, Jason, head coach, OC, DC, offense coordinator, defensive coordinator, those three have been together since 13. Not another Power 5 program in America can lay that claim. And that continuity helps, builds trust, right? Helps in these situations. How do we want to manage this, knowing we get the ball to begin the second half as well?
They've been on 12-hour bus rides together. You know, you go from Whitewater, Wisconsin to the College of New Jersey to play a game. You get a lot of bonding time. You spend the night in Urban Meyer's hometown at a hotel on the way. You get a lot of bonding time, and that's exactly what happened for these guys.
And said, I trust those guys that I've been on 12-hour bus rides with.
That's who he wants on his coaching staff. Second down and 6. Another pump from Daniels. This time he goes toward the end zone, incomplete for Grimm.
Intended for number 11, Luke Grimm.
Oh, and that's a pretty good throw across the field, man. That was a laser, and you can see it just spinning. But Grimm could not get that second hand up. He was just unable to pull that second hand up. Bud Clark, I think, did just enough as they were jousting, and he couldn't get the hands to the football.
Now with that timeout, you're in danger of giving TCU the ball back with 2 timeouts of their own. Let's see what third down and 6 brings. TCU rushes 4. Daniels feels it. Daniels steps out of the tackle, and he goes down outside of the 20-yard line. Dylan Horton dragged him down. See Daniels over on the sideline there, and an injury timeout
No.
Officials timeout, an injured player.
Oh, that was all the force coming down on his right shoulder as well. No.
This magical season for Jalen Daniels, and he is down on the field. There's Jason Bean, the backup.
And that is Jamoy Hodge, and he is 6'2", 245. Oh, and that is the throwing arm, and Daniels doing what he has done all season long. Look at Allison looking right down the line, studying it, and I know she's as heartbroken as we are up here because you just don't want to see the Energizer.
No, he has come out of nowhere, completely under-recruited, shows up here in Kansas off an offer from Middle Tennessee State on a winding road that involves an offensive analyst that saw him play and pushed for him, and new coaching staff, and Lance Leipold's team has been buoyed so much by that young man. And he is going to walk off the field. So Borchilla for the field goal. It'll be 40 yards away.
The previous play was eligible for a 10-second runoff. TCU has declined the 10-second runoff. The play will start on the snap.
So this will be a moving clock with the snap only, as TCU declined the runoff. So TCU will have those 2 timeouts. They'll have 35 seconds or so. Timeout Kansas. A lot of conversation here from Lance Leipold. He wants a full timeout.
Yeah, he wants the explanation as far as the clock. I think that is why he's taking that timeout and trying to get an explanation of why the clock is being managed the way it is, with Jalen not tackled in bounds.
Yeah, he wants it to be a moving clock at the official's whistle rather than at the snap.
That's right. Or TCU to have to use a timeout on their side, and he's got the explanation. I think he understands it. Now Borchilla, who's been sitting here watching this, and not had many kicks this year, just 2 for 4 on the season. This is an awfully big one before half.
Mike and crew thought they were going to get it about 6 minutes ago for the State Farm halftime report. We'll have it to you shortly for highlights from across the country, but Kansas looking for its first points of this ball game. From 40 for Borchilla. It is on the way, and that is good. New long snapper Duggan. Borchilla says, hey, it doesn't have to be quiet. Kickers can bring the crowd, bring the energy. We need more of that in college football.
No, we don't.
Excited kickers. Yeah, we do.
No, actually we don't.
Lance Leipold in Kansas. Look, they go winless a couple years ago. His staff shows up, and there's Daniels walking over on the sideline, which is not a bad sign.
No, how is he holding that arm? I'm going to guess he's heading into the locker room. As anybody who's played the position has taken that hit. And you just know that there are times that if that force lands just right on it, whether it's a collarbone, whether it's a shoulder separation, which I think just about every QB that's played has had along the way, it is unbelievably painful. And when it's to your throwing arm, boy, it can be difficult to come back to.
So you're saying you've experienced both? That hit's okay and that hit is not okay.
Sometimes you look at that hit and you go, oh my gosh, and you get up from it and it just doesn't get you just the right way to, if it's that AC joint, to separate that joint. And then other times, boy, it just separates it, and that is a painful injury.
Get you an update when we have it. on the kick, and that goes out of bounds with 36 seconds. Downstairs, Allison, what do you see?
Jason Brock, the pain was evident on Jalen Daniels' face as he made his way to the injury table there. Tears welling in his eyes, a grimace across his face, and some signs of frustration and disappointment with that injury as well. I heard him pounding on the table there with that left hand while he was being tended to. I'll have more for you guys after the half.
Thank you, Allison.
And I know some will say, hey, Jamoy Hodge was a week ago, right? It was his shot on Dylan Gabriel. That one was uncalled for. Today, it was clean as you take a look there at Jason Bean, who will play, who did start number 17, 9 games a year ago for Lance Leipold. That was a totally clean hit. It was physical and it was violent, and it certainly drove that shoulder of Daniels into the ground.
Now the task at hand for Kansas is defensively to get a stop with 2 timeouts remaining from the 35-yard line for TCU. Duggan, a dart, and a beautiful reach right there by Gunnar Henderson. He could not reel it in, but he nearly did grab that thing.
You're right. When Duggan is confident, that ball fires, right? It comes out with some conviction on those in routes. That one just about a half yard off. The incarnate word transfer Henderson couldn't corral it.
Second down. Duggan, pressure right in his face. He gets out of it. Once again, he squirts free from the pocket and rescues some time for TCU.
Yeah, he is a powerfully built guy. You can just ask OU last week. I mean, he runs through tackles. Right, he was a 4-sport stud back in Iowa. He was the Gatorade National Player of the Year out of the state of Iowa. I think you're seeing a senior who's been given a second lease on life that is just playing with that reckless, fearless abandon.
He said Council Bluffs, his hometown, is full of hardworking people, and he is one of them. 3rd down and 3. That's Johnston in motion. He's had a huge first half. And this to the sideline is Imani Bailey for a first down.
That's a great little concept. You said it. Everyone in the stands could see number 1 with the hair out of the back of his helmet, who's been running all over the place. But that time, well, he gets in the way. That time he's the object of a little rub route. And a terrific catch by Bailey to flip his hips.
Kansas gets the ball after the half. Duggan wants it all. Down the sideline. This is intercepted. O.J. Burrows goes up to grab it. And the first pick of the year for Duggan comes at the end of the first half in Lawrence.
I love this shot. I don't think Quentin Johnson ever saw Burrows coming out of center field. He feels the corner that he runs by, but he's looking at the football the entire way. Jason, and I don't think he ever saw Burrows come and fly out of center field, because if he had, he would at least go up and make it his ball or nobody's ball.
First time he saw Burrows, it looked like, in that replay, was his helmet coming into his view, trying to intercept the ball at the very last moment. So Kansas will find out about the Jayhawks quarterback, Jalen Daniels, but Max Duggan has thrown his first pick in his last 113 tries. TCU and Kansas both undefeated. Top of the Big 12 standings on the line. State Farm halftime show. Mike Hill and the gang in Los Angeles, guys.
Indeed, we are in L.A. Welcome to the State Farm halftime show. The gang is Chris Peterson. And that is Emmanuel Acho. I'm Mike Hill. 2 of the highest scoring teams in the nation, guys. And we have a total of, 13 points in the first half, but a lot of missed opportunities for that Kansas Jayhawks team there in the first 30 minutes as we take a look at the State Farm halftime highlights. Acho.
Mike, story of the first half is all about the missed opportunities. This 4th and 5, you got to convert. Big time hit right there by the TCU defender. And then this fumble, pivotal fumble, Kansas is going in. Instead, TCU takes it 99 yards. That is a 14-point swing that you got to keep track of.
Yeah, and then, like you said, TCU took advantage of it, went 99 yards thanks to Max Duggan and Quentin Johnson, who went 99. They had big halves.
I actually think Kansas's defense is doing a nice job. They're kind of bending but not breaking. But Max Duggan and Quentin Johnson are quite a combination. I mean, those guys are on fire. Duggan's been super efficient, 12 for 16, 145 yards. And then Quentin Johnson has 8 catches for 140 yards. Look how twitchy he is. Yeah. He's long, can go, but he can make you miss as well. This is a tough guy. I mean, you don't want to defend this guy. Look at this. Boom, pulling out of this, making guys miss. this is a heck of a guy to defend.
It's games like these, though, Coach, and you know better than anybody on this desk, where the rivalry is starting to be bigger based on the records. Everything's hype. And then you look at halftime, and it's like, wait, this isn't the 25 to 21-point game we all expected. It's a little ugly. It's just about getting the win.
And the biggest story in the first half, in the first 30 minutes, remember, Jalen Daniels went down with that apparent injury. It looks like a shoulder. Won't want to speculate in the first half, but we'll see what happens there. If he can't go, Jason Bean is his backup. How would that affect Kansas?
A lot. Jalen Daniels is one of the best players in the country today, so that's going to affect some things. I think this is a heck of a game. Like, we're all wanting these, fireworks and offensive shootout, but if you're going to win big, you got to, have defense will travel. And so you're seeing these good defenses kind of swell up here in a big-time game.
All right, we'll see what happens there in the second half coming up momentarily. Our big noon kickoff game over on Fox featured fourth-ranked Michigan coming off their big win at Iowa and maybe looking ahead to Penn State next week, trying to avoid that trap game out at Indiana.
Well, Michigan came out the gate hot. Blake Corum's going to do what he's going to do. Watch that cut right there. His low center of gravity allows him to get in and out of breaks as good, if not better than any running back in all of college.
Down to the one, of course, give it to him because that's what he does, gets into the end zone.
Well, there's no trap. You're not trapping Blake Corum. You can't trap him at all. So keep giving him the ball and it won't be a trap game.
Yeah, that would be a big trap for the little small man. But Indiana can play. Look at this. It's tied at 10. Once again, that game over on Fox midway through the second quarter of play. Hey, plenty more college football coming your way later as 11th-ranked Utah battles undefeated UCLA at 3:30 Eastern. How about the Pac-12 this year? Then at 7:30, number 6 USC. This is a good one, too. They will be hosting Washington State. You can catch all the action on Fox. Hey, the nation's highest-powered offense belongs to the Tennessee Volunteers. How will they fare in their top 25 matchup with LSU? They are not looking ahead to Alabama next week. I'll tell you that right now. And Texas and Oklahoma. Acho. Both unranked for the first time in over 20 years.
Highlights I look for.
Which is a rarity for the Red River Showdown, but the rivalry between these two never dies down.
Good day. State Farm is there.
Welcome back in studio, CP, Acho, and me. 8th-ranked Tennessee boasts the #1 total offense in FBS this year, but the undefeated Volunteers, they face a brutal stretch coming up, and that started today at 25th-ranked LSU, and opening kickoff LSU. You see those night games there, down there.
Coach, what's your coaching point?
We got to come to balance to catch balls. You can't catch them on the run like that, or that's going to happen.
That led to this. Jabari Small in from 1 yard out. Tennessee up 7-0. They were just poured on. Hendon Hooker, watch this throw.
Tennessee's ready for big-time opponents this year to play big-time college football, and they have been playing at a high level all year long. Hendon Hooker, phenomenal delivery.
They got Alabama next week, not overlooking LSU up there 20-7 right now. Texas, Oklahoma, Quinn Ewers is back, but they always have a job.
That's the prettiest 1 yard run you ever gonna see.
The good thing is 5's never left.
No, Longhorns up 7-0. Sooners, no Dylan Gabriel in this one, going for it on 4th and 1. Eric, great stuff. Longhorns defense taking over. Longhorns coming off their best win of the season last week, and then Ewers off the play action.
Ball.
Xavier Worthy.
Tutty.
It is now 28-0. Yeah, look. Acho, look, yeah, they scored another one.
Acho,
you acting like it's nothing. Look at the Big 12 stands. Kansas still on top. Kansas State right there. Hey, Texas 1-1. Kansas, TCU, one of those teams is going to drop to 2-1 or 1-1 this season. So look at that Texas right now, 28-0 right now. Big plays getting it done, and Quinn Ewers is back.
Well, let's deliver the goods. Texas was up by 21 last year and did not win. So 28-0 in this rivalry. You can't get too excited, Longhorns fans. But for the greater state of college football is this. Quinn Ewers, #1 overall recruit out of high school, goes to Ohio State, comes back to Texas, is leading Alabama, gets knocked out in that game. Texas loses to Alabama. Thus, Texas loses to Texas Tech without Quinn Ewers. But now, as Mike alluded to, a 12-play drive, an 8-play drive, a 9-play drive. Quinn Ewers looks like that #1 recruit. If he is that good, Texas can be this good. I'm not surprised.
Those first 3 drives all over 80 yards, by the way. Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, I think Quinn Ewers could be the magic ticket to Texas's success going forward. But let's not forget their struggles last year were really on defense. And to me, this looks like a way improved defense. Got a nice 4th down stop. They're rushing the ball. Now, the big thing is Dylan Gabriel not being in there. Right. We know that changes things for Oklahoma. We do. But, to shut him out in the first half with this explosive Oklahoma offense, I mean, that's impressive.
You are doing, if you are a Longhorn fan, what you are supposed to do. Coach alluded to it. Oklahoma is without Dylan Gabriel.
Right.
Dylan Gabriel is a dude, a player capable of rushing for 60-yard touchdowns, throwing for 60-yard touchdowns. Oklahoma, without their starting quarterback. Texas, you should be playing well, but very well done playing this well.
The one thing is, Dylan Gabriel doesn't play on defense. And 28 points and a half. Ooh-wee.
Yeah, like they said, he had a 21-point lead last year. But no Dylan Gabriel this year. If you blow a 28-point lead this year, just
they got another Caleb Williams on the bench.
Are Longhorns back?
Not happening.
Longhorns
I'm
back?
not saying
no.
Yeah. Yes, you are.
And last week, Missouri almost pulled off the upset of the year against Georgia. Now the Tigers try to steal one from the Gators down in the swamp. Highlights coming up. Jay Miller getting into the end zone for TCU. It's the only time someone's gotten to the end zone today there in Kansas. 10-3 at the half.
College football halftime show. Like a good name, State Farm is there.
Welcome back. After winning their first 3 games, Arkansas was a trendy pick to win the SEC West. But after back-to-back losses against Texas A&M and Alabama, but the Razorbacks rebound today at 23rd-ranked Mississippi State. The answer is nope.
The answer is no when you get this much time to throw the ball and then start scramble drill and then get lucky.
Coach, you rather be lucky or good?
Lucky.
Bill Rogers, Jaden Wiley, and then Rogers. He's a cowboy.
A lot of time in that pocket.
Dogs over the halls. I want some dogs. Mississippi State up 21-10. Missouri, Florida. Remember, Missouri almost knocked off Georgia last week. Brady Cook, though, picked off by Jaden Hill here.
Great read by the safety. Flat-footed, eyes on the quarterback. As soon as he breaks his arm to release, you go ahead and break on the ball. Pick 6.
10-10 down in the swamp right now. Purdue and Maryland. Maryland 4-1 on the year. Big reason. Taulia Tagovailoa.
Tagovailoa doing what he does best, using those feet. And he can throw it. This is a heck of a quarterback.
He is. Maryland leads at 7-0, but that comes Purdue. Aiden Connell, one of the best in the nation. Mershawn Rice.
Tough to stop a perfect throw.
No doubt about it.
Tied at 17 on the Big Ten Network right before the half. Louisville, Virginia, no Malik Cunningham from Louisville. And this one 4th and 2. Brock Domain on the keeper.
That's a lot of green grass right there.
I might have scored on that one, Coach. I might have scored on that one.
Cardinal up 13-10 at the break. Still 3 more games remaining on today's FS1 schedule, including 7th-ranked Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. That's at 3:30 Eastern. Then at 7, Air Force flying high takes on Utah State, followed by Fresno State battling Boise State. That's at 9:45. Check out this catch by Mason Fairchild, guys. Look at this. Look over one shoulder, turn to the
blind ball. That's about as toughest catch as you'll ever have to make.
See if Jaden Daniels plays in the second half.
Welcome back to FS1 College Football, sponsored by Edward Jones. Life is for living. Let's partner for all of it. Halftime in Lawrence, Kansas, just 13 points on the board, and your halftime stats show that with TCU and Kansas pretty even in terms of their production. 10-3 your score. To Allison Williams for an update on Jalen Daniels of Kansas.
Yeah, I spoke to Lance Leipold at the half. He has not completely ruled out his quarterback from returning. He said he's still being evaluated in the locker room and said it's about a 50-50 chance that Jalen Daniels can return to this ball game. But it will be Jason Bean to start the second half, and his message to his quarterback was, look, you played a lot of football. You had a great fall camp. You practiced great. You're well prepared for this moment.
And he's been in games, too. We've seen him in certain packages in the first 5 weeks for Kansas, Brock.
You know what? I actually ran into him on the field pregame and said, how many snaps today? Along those lines, they've been utilizing him in some different plays. And he said, oh, I'll be ready. I'll be ready. And he will be. He started a number of games a year ago. And remember this. We were all kind of shook when Coach told us yesterday, Jason Bean is their fastest player on the entire roster.
Yeah, fastest guy.
Yes, he is explosive. So get ready to see some QB run to start for sure.
Kenny Logan lets it go. Quentin Johnston for TCU, a career day in the first half.
Yeah, we're kind of waiting. You looked at his numbers this season and said something's not quite adding up. Just 12 catches coming in, 114 yards, no touchdowns. And that story got ripped up. Almost 140 in this first half. This was huge. That was a first down play at the 1-yard line, set up the 99-yard touchdown drive. This as well, running through multiple tackles. And I had an indicator yesterday from the offensive coordinator, Gary Riley, said we're going to get Quentin going. He's got to get more active, more touches. He's made every one of them pay.
Did it early and often. Devin Neal on the handoff from Jason Bean up to the 30-yard line. Hodges Tomlinson the tackle. Now Jason Bean is another one of these guys who transferred into Kansas. That was a couple of years ago. He came from North Texas. He's thrown 2 passes this year, but we've seen him split out as a wide receiver. And as you said, you talked to him, he's ready to go.
Yeah, the good news is nothing has to change in their option game. Can still do. In fact, I think he can facilitate that with the threat of his legs, maybe even more than Jalen. The passing takes a step back, and that's why he's been the backup to Daniels.
He will throw for the first time in this game, and he's got it for Tanaka Scott. The freshman down the sideline inside the 20.
And you want to infuse the backup QB with a little bit of confidence. How about just a little flat route? Tanaka slows down, he catches it. And as we've seen over the course of this game, every explosive play has had one common denominator: broken tackles, and Bean loves it.
Yes, he does. Gain of 54. And now Scott comes off the field with his biggest play in tow. 5-0 Kansas. 5 wins for the first time in 13 years. Bean tucking and running and being driven down at the 12-yard line by Perry.
So here comes the danger. Right behind Bean is no experience. So how much do you want to run after Jalen's already got the shoulder injury? You know this is his strength. You know he's equipped to do this very well. But my advice to Jason would be protect yourself. You do not need to be a hero. More than anything, you need to be available this entire second half.
Yeah, get down or get out of bounds, what you're saying, right?
Protect yourself.
Sevion Morrison in motion. He had a big run in the first half. It's Bean to throw, and that's a wide-open Mason Fairchild.
You know, it's very difficult to cover 5 eligible receivers to one side of the field. And ultimately, this has been so effective for the Jayhawks this season. Miscommunication by TCU. You see the 2 linebackers, Hodges and Hodge, staring at one another. And Fairchild, the 260-pounder, delivers.
You can't help but think about Lance Leipold and mixing up the groups in this team. They have a draft before the season, 8 captains. They randomly collect guys to get to know each other, and the relationships they forge cross-sectionally between offense and defense. And Mason Fairchild just turned Jason Bean into Simba, lifting him up. We're tied at 10.
Pressure the defense. Look at the Jayhawks. They get 5 eligible receivers out into this route. Right, and look at the burden it puts on that defense, and ultimately the 2 linebackers right here totally confused about that motion, about their assignment, and it leaves Fairchild open for 6.
That is cumulative stress, and Jason Bean, who comes in for the injured Jalen Daniels, has an immediate touchdown.
A wide open flat route, a broken tackle, 40-yard chunk play, and then a wide open seam route. You couldn't draw a better for the backup.
Darius Davis into the end zone it goes. And this return to the outside gets him across the 30-yard line, and the return for Banks, I should say. Downstairs, Allison.
I spoke to TCU head coach Sonny Dykes at the half. He said the biggest thing for this offense in the second half is they got to do a better job challenging Kansas's defense. He said we're playing into their hand a little too much. They're mixing up coverages, and it's presented some difficulties for our offense. So we have to do a better job of just getting that ball started quickly and letting our guys make plays.
What does that look like, Brock?
Back to that ball distribution, get everyone involved. It's awesome that Quentin's got 8 catches in the first half, but more Horned Frogs have got to get the ball in their hands.
4 receivers have caught a ball today, and this is whistled wide and incomplete of Savion Williams.
I think that offensive line as well. I think there's been a bunch of penetration. The Max has felt a little bit more than the 4 games. This is a good Kansas front. And I don't think I've ever said that as I've covered college football. This is a very good, active, deep front. Another reason why this team is 5-0.
The 25-year-old Sam Burt, Malcolm Lee had a tackle for loss earlier. Duggan to throw. Here is Johnston sidestepping one and cutting inside across the 40. He'll be third down.
She's got a little Luke Hopkins to him, doesn't he? Maybe even a little taller than Luke Hopkins, who's become a pro bowler and a difference maker at the next level. That is a QB's best friend.
9 grabs for Johnston. 3rd and 5 for Kansas's defense. Duggan tipped at the line. Batted down by Kansas's Caleb Sampson.
Boy, and that's just a tremendous stunt. Again, there's just people around Max Duggan. You didn't see this a week ago. You're going to see Sampson come around, gets his hands right into the face of Duggan, and that's 305 pounds. Yeah, go ahead and flex yourself right there, because this defensive line full of a bunch of difference makers.
Yeah, a kid from Louisiana. They come from all over to play in Kansas red.
26 different states.
Burrows lets it go into the end zone, and Kansas will have it from the 20-yard line. Tell you what, they've been down big before, and Kansas forces the second 3-and-out for TCU. The Jayhawks, since it's affecting both sides. Lance Leipold says, come on, let's go. We want more of this. And Max Duggan for TCU says, relax to his guys. Relax. And that's not typically something we've seen in Lawrence in recent days.
RELAX. Aaron Rodgers said, nope. We've not seen Kansas football play complementary ball. They've had difference makers over the years, but have never tied 3 phases of the game together as well as they have this season, and responded here this afternoon.
There's that orbit motion again. It is Kai Thomas who has bottled up at the gain of 2. Last 3 drives, touchdown, field goal, and then stopped at the 1 with the fumble for Kansas. So they've been moving the ball.
Yeah, this offensive line, I think, is feeling a little bit of that front. You've seen them give a little bit more time. I think once again, the offensive coordinator at Kansas, maybe not a familiar name to college football, Andy Kotelnicki, but he mixes and he matches. And once again, look at this formation. 4 to 1 side here. You better communicate defensively.
Jason Bean throws it out of the backfield for Morrison. Those other receivers became blockers, and he is whipped down by Winters.
They sure did. I think that is Newton that is beating the block of Lawrence Arnold. Remember Arnold earlier? He pinballed the corner into 2 tackles. This time, Newton says, not so fast. I'm seeing 4 to a side. I'm seeing the running back coming out. I'm pulling my trigger and forcing a 3rd and 8.
Kansas was 1 of 5 in the first half on 3rd down.
To heat up the young, inexperienced QB here?
I don't know, with the way he runs. Quick release, got it to the outside, and Grimm is going to be short by a yard. Okay. All right, what do you think?
You punt.
Come on, we saw Oklahoma State Baylor last week.
Come on, Dave Aranda, you punt.
Lance Leipold is fairly conservative in that department compared to Dave Aranda.
Yes. It's a tie game. It is back and forth. You do not give this opponent on the other side. Lance did not like the spot, but what a tremendous tackle by Bradford. It's almost like hit or miss. But every big play has been missed tackles. Otherwise, man, there have been some sure tackling on the back end of both defenses.
Saw the guy in the beard behind Lance Leipold. He is the analytics guy. We won't say his name because evidently he doesn't like his name said. So Darius Davis back to receive the punt. This is out of bounds. I would never say the name Grant Murray. This October on Fox and FS1, the National League's biggest stars battle it out on the road to the Fall Classic. National League Division Series begins Tuesday only on Fox and FS1. How about the Phillies comeback yesterday in St. Louis? 6th spot for
the Phillies have been there and done that. How about the Mariners? Ending a 20-year playoff drought and getting the first win, and Castillo throwing gas.
Not even a National League specific promo will thwart Brock Eward's Mariners fandom.
My bad.
Not even that promo.
Oh, be a pro, Eward.
First down for TCU from the 30-yard line. Duggan, the throw down the middle, and that is right on time. Now the ball comes out. It is loose on the deck, fumbled by Spivey, and it looked like Kansas got on it. Let's see as they unpack. It is Kansas football. Jarcorius Spivey put it on the ground. Kenny Logan got to the bottom of it.
Well, you want to get other people involved. We've seen Savion Williams. This time it is Spivey. That's going to be, I think, evaluated. Did he ever have control?
Now, he did make an affirmative move to pull the ball back toward his elbow and the crook of it.
And you knew you were going to call the name Kenny Logan. You just knew it. You just felt it and had a sense that he was going to make his name known and his number called as he rips the football away and recovers it. Replay obviously looking at every play. They're right next door to us. It's the first time I think they've had to be involved in really anything today. And Duggan continues to inspire.
I do believe that move to tuck the ball that he made will end up confirming this as a catch and fumble. How about Kenny Logan? He said last year, though they lost a couple games down the stretch, he felt it turn because of the close losses, including one to TCU. And there is his friend and quarterback, Jalen Daniels, in street clothes. Looks like he is done for the day. This is Jason Bean's offense now, and it is a run, and it is Devin Neal carving back inside, just short of the 30.
Once again, I said it, you just feel this Kansas O-line is just getting a sense for these moving targets. They're running inside out. If I've been impressed with their defensive line, calling them good for the first time in decades and decades, this side as well. Nowitzki's the general in the middle. Cable Dew's a big physical right tackle, 77. They don't ask them to man block a lot. They ask them to block down and move the line of scrimmage. They've been pretty effective.
Amaje Reed Adams in at right guard on this drive. Bean to throw, loads of time for Jason Bean to the sideline, and contact with Torrey Loughlin from Hodges Tomlinson. 3rd and 3, no marker.
Yeah, don't throw on that guy. He is, and Lance doesn't like it, and he feels like Hodges Tomlinson the entire way is pushing his receiver out of bounds, but he's using his body. Right, little sneaky hook in the arm as a senior you would expect. An all-conference two-time corner in Hodges Tomlinson. Leipold doesn't like it, but the vet gets away with it.
It was at least very clever by Hodges Tomlinson. 3rd and 3. Neal the tailback, and with a little hesitation, he's got the first down, crashing across the 30.
You see Jared Casey, 47 right there? I mean, add him to the offensive line here. Add him to the 620 pounds on the left side right here. Right? Just look at the movement. Look at Casey, 255 pounds himself. That's a mismatch for D. Winters. And they just block down. They block down. They block down. And then here comes the option. And here comes that running back right off of it. Well done by Casey.
Longhorn fans certainly remember Jared Casey, Plainville, Kansas. Bean sets to throw and comes the opposite direction. It's Mason Fairchild again, grazing free inside the 10.
Have yourself a day, big man. And once again, right, pre-snap motion and movement, and we're going to run a little option fake here, and we're going to bring Fairchild all the way across the field. It must at times to defenders look like a total blur. Where is the motion and the shifting going? Where is this formation going? What is happening to my eyes right now as they're getting confused and the Jayhawks are making them pay?
Inventive stuff from Andy Kotelnicki in Kansas.
Just with me here, he's going to a second play.
Bean wants to throw, he rolls. Bean, the other way again! And Grimm! There's a marker in on the play, and the danger is illegal man downfield possibly. We'll see what it is. Maybe some contact in the end zone as well.
Holding, defense, a penalty for flag. It's over play, it's a touchdown.
Grimm score stands.
This is so good, Lance Leipold. My gosh, do you have a lot of teaching tape. This is called the scissors route on the back end, and Bean is the beneficiary of those scissors between Grimm and Arnold in the back of the end zone, creating chaos, and Bean can just flip it out there, man, in perfect position. How many wide open receivers has Jason Bean had to begin this second half? It comes from play construction, that comes from execution, and we have a Horned Frog down. I think he was one of those defenders. It's Hodges Tomlinson, and he gets caught right in the scissors.
Bud Clark, the safety, cannot believe it.
Well, he's looking like the Broncos receiver. The other day at the end of the Broncos game on Thursday night, Handler.
Well, we know Rock beats scissors, but Rock Chalk deploys scissors and has suddenly its first lead of the ball game behind the backup quarterback. And the whole idea was be ready for when we're good and be ready for when this thing turns, but you got to be ready as the backup quarterback, and Jason Bean very much is. Kansas on a Grimm touchdown leads by after the fumble at the 1 yard line and 99-yard touchdown from TCU. It's the first time the Horned Frogs have trailed since early in the second quarter in the opener against Colorado.
We have seen the Jayhawks respond, a little sudden change. TCU's defense could not right there. And can Max Duggan, it's been beautiful this year, right? Just a lot of success. First bump of adversity. Can he and that offense respond right into the mouth and teeth of this crowd?
And this is a bouncing kick. They're trying to stay away from Davis, and TCU will have good field position. Back to the touchdown.
I said scissors to you like 5 times. I think everybody in college football has seen mesh, right? Mesh is little crossing routes here. That's not what Kansas does. They run scissors, which is a deeper mesh down the field, and you want to get these guys caught up right in the wash of the scissors. And look at it. It works perfectly. And watch this detail. Right here, this is the guy, Lawrence Arnold. He can't run into the defender. He's got to run those defenders into each other. And he does just that.
That's beautiful. And Jalen Daniels, you talk about the teeth of this crowd. There's the teeth and the smile of this quarterback who is so happy for his understudy because his team is up 7. Miller hard into the right side of the line, and there's Lonnie Phelps diving into the play again along with Eddie Wilson.
It is Phelps, but remember looking at Kansas' O-line moving people? And you could see the production here. Right, TCU's group is not. Those big fellas right there, they're not getting the same kind of movement. They're not blowing Kansas off the ball as those Jayhawks are, providing so much more balance to their offense as those numbers show.
Kansas won 0 football games 2 years ago. On the throw, and it's a short hop for Johnston.
And once again, he's getting blasted. I mean, this is a 4-man rush. This is a little more familiar to years past for Max Duggan. A beautiful inside rush there by DJ Withers to get yet again another hit into the face of Max Duggan. Free play.
Now they're going to stop it. They're going to stop, and you could make the argument that it could have been a free play.
Offside. Defense number 47, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
But is he unabated with the running back right there? You can see Lonnie Phelps. He tries. He's clearly on the other side. A heads-up play there by Ali to snap it. Sonny Dykes out on the field. He wanted that one-on-one shot to Johnston, and the opportunity with the free play.
You see with Phelps slamming on the brakes as well. Sonny Dykes saw that and started to argue. 3rd down and 3. Duggan drops it off. The crosser Williams is there for a first down.
Pass complete.
A little bit of tempo here, and I like this. Get going. If you can't win, right, and you're not getting pushed, once those chains move the first time, pick up the pace.
Kansas has not seen a ton of tempo this year. Duggan throws again. Darius Davis in space. Down the fringe. There's the speed, and away he goes.
Wow.
Touchdown TCU.
And how about the job of Quentin Johnson? Taking 2. Just like Lawrence Arnold did on the other side. You go tempo. You get those guys a little bit late to line up, and this guy's been catching them all day, and watch him block here. He takes 1, he takes 2, and then the strength and the athleticism and the flat-out explosion to stay in bounds. Wow.
That is awesome.
On so many levels.
Sonny Dykes has said before, after the big game for Darius Davis against SMU, now we have to figure out an offense that gets him the ball 85 times a game.
Well, remember, it was Davis's punt return in Boulder that turned their season. Max Duggan has been the beneficiary of it, spraying the ball all over the place. But it was Davis's punt return that just said, okay, we've arrived. Our speed and our playmaking is just different.
This game exemplifies how wild the Big 12 has been already this year. And it's early October. Darius Davis got off the rails real fast. This is a 63-second drive thanks to another big play for TCU.
Well, that's that 50-plus yard explosion that Kansas could not afford. They had 6 of them coming into this game, add 2 more. That's now 8 big plays, and they've come on this stat right here. Remember, it was 27 missed tackles by Oklahoma last week. Kansas wanted to keep that to 10 or under. And they're not there, and the 2 explosive plays come off it.
This kick to the sideline, and it does stay in bounds. So Kansas across the 30-yard line with their backup quarterback, Jason Bean, who has been exquisite so far.
How nice is it as a backup to come in and have your primary targets open? A wide open flat route for a big play, a seam route for a touchdown. This time you scramble, come across the field. There's not a horned frog within 15 yards of Grimm. Bean showing why a little bit of experience matters. Started a bunch of games last year for this staff. They're comfortable with him, and we've not even seen his greatest asset yet, which is his game-changing speed.
It's a throw for Arnold, and Arnold is hogtied by Hodges Tomlinson. Allison.
You guys talked at the top of the broadcast about that word culture that we hear so much in college football, and accountability, being a player-led team. A lot of teams say that. Kansas isn't. And guys, you can tell just watching them on the sideline, these players have been empowered to lead, whether it's, Devin Neal telling his guys, hey, one meticulous drive at a time, or Jalen Daniels with a smile on his face, injured, telling his O-line to keep fighting. Guys on defense saying, this is our game. They have found their voice, and they are leading each other on the sideline.
Very interesting down there, and that pitch is not a good one. Thomas has to go pick it up inside the 20-yard line, and there is maybe a little bit of the rhythm that you lose when the second guy comes in.
I don't think there is any question about it. The option game takes a ton of time and precision. It's why option teams, they major in it, right? And we saw it on a mesh play earlier in the first half with Daniels and Thomas. That time, just total miscommunication with the pitch distance, right? You got to be right where the quarterback expects you to be. Beans can't make that pitch until he peeks out of the corner of his eye and feels the distance. Creates just an enormous, difficult 3rd and 21.
Got to get all the way down to the 40. He's going to throw it over the middle, and that is intercepted. Picked off by Jamoy Hodge.
Yeah, so easy, right? On the opening couple drives, a mistake on the pitch. And this time it's almost as he just lobs it. He just expects it. I mean, that's not within earshot of Luke Grimm right there. I don't see anything necessarily fundamentally, Jason, other than just concentration. You can't ever, even on a little check down, and with wide open 8, dropped 8 in the zone. They wanted you to throw that, and it was almost like, oh, yeah, I'm just supposed to throw the little check down here, that he took it for granted. And Hodge took it away.
Big day for him. He's got a sack. He's got a pick. And Jason Bean will have to walk that off. Duggan, his counterpart, with a short field from the 26. Duggan, and that is dropped incomplete. Savion Williams.
Gosh, and a great route in concept, and everything is there. He's going to sell a little spot route and then come right behind it. And a little bit like being on the other side, he just took that reception for granted. Savion does not look it in. Duggan knows that's a gimme, and so does Savion, grabbing for his face mask. Looked the ball all the way in.
He made such a great play on that opening touchdown last week. Such great body control, and that one was way easier. Duggan does hand it off, and it is Miller, who is very close to the line to gain.
That was angry. I'm sick and tired of not being involved here. And once again, a little bit of tempo from TCU.
Miller stays in. He gets it again, steps over a body and drives inside the 10.
Come right back to the same play, and I like the adjustment from Garrett Riley over there on the sidelines. Instead of slower developing, hit right at him, block down, and give Miller an opportunity to get those shoulder pads north and south.
Why not go there again with tempo? Miller runs into Logan, and what a collision that was inside the 5.
Yeah, those are 2 Brahma Bulls. Maybe not by poundage, but strength per pound. These 2 dynamic.
Hey, you okay?
Logan is down now after this. You're going to listen to.
Stopped by Kenny Logan.
Well, Kansas has taken a bit of a beating here. All right, we saw Graham hobble off. He came back in. Daniels is done for the day, and street close Logan, their best defender. I think they're looking at his shoulder possibly as well, or just maybe knock the wind out of himself. But this has been a violent, physical game.
That young man has a lot of spring in his step normally. He is one of the funniest guys on this team. He's an enjoyable young man, a senior out of the state of Florida. And he has been one of the guys who's stuck around and felt this thing and seen this thing through. And if he can do anything to be back on the field, he's going to.
Well, he's been the eraser, which you have to have. If you're going to rebuild a program, you'd love to do it at the line of scrimmage first and foremost, and that's been a big part of the foundation. But you better have a guy that can clean up messes on the back end. Over 100 tackles last year. Second team all-conference, led the Big 12 in tackles, and they're going to need number 1 back on the field. And look at Sonny right here. He feels it. He senses it. He wants that downhill disposition.
Miller's a tailback. Duggan's going to throw it. Now he's going to run. Duggan, touchdown.
Number 15, Max Duggan.
Boy, that was a slow developing QB draw. I was like, man, if Sonny wants a run, why is he calling a pass? Well, he did call a run. It was just patience from Max Duggan. You could see the running back come and lead the way here. Therefore, you know it's QB draw. Hard to be that patient that sometimes, unless you're a veteran QB, especially with a rusher coming at you. Tremendous execution by TCU on back-to-back touchdown drives.
Max Duggan's father, who coached him in high school, said, look, you had a backup for 3 years. That person did his job. Now you got to do your job, and that was at the beginning of the season when he didn't win the starting job. But his leadership here, hey guys, relax. Hey guys, we got this. Has TCU off a Kansas mistake in the lead again, 24-17.
Not easy to do, Jason, but a lot of college experience to help him grow and mature, and this is about as easy. A pick and interception there, and then to come back with the QB draw. And I like what Sonny said. about Max. I've watched him for 4 years. I've not seen that kind of leadership that you're pointing to. I've not seen him this verbal. In some ways, he's always been a perfectionist. And when you're a coach's son and you're kind of under that watchful eye, there's tremendous benefits, but at times you have to fight that perfection. I think for the first time in 4 years in Fort Worth, he's flushed that. It's no longer, hey, I even threw my first pick today. Made a few mistakes today. Doesn't matter. You're not going to play perfectly. Move on to the next one, and he's done a fabulous job of it this season.
You felt that exact thing. So
Yeah.
I trust you to recognize that, and you have seen it. TCU by 7. And this return for Logan back in. We go downstairs to Allison.
Well, and Max Duggan playing with such a different confidence as the season has gone on, and he's solidified his spot as the starter for this team. And it's something his head coach, Sonny Dykes, said, look, I can relate to this as well. My confidence was shook after my tenure at Cal. And it was in 2017 when I came to this TCU program as an analyst that I got to kind of take it in again and realize how people did things differently. And it made me realize, you know what, I'm not so bad at this job myself. It was his confidence coming back for him. He said, I can see the same thing with Max.
Brock, you said it earlier, you've seen a different Sonny Dykes here as Devin Neal gets met. The Lawrence native goes down after a gain of about 3.
Yeah, and I think Sonny made a good point about this team, about Max and all of them. Remember who recruited them to Fort Worth?
Gary Patterson.
Tough guy. You're going to come here, you're going to develop, you're going to play physical, defensive-minded football. And Sonny said, I've never had a group in all of my years that just loves to compete and play. And that's a testament to the guys that he inherited from Gary Patterson's program that want to play football. I don't have to ever challenge them on a practice field. They're the ones leading the way, too.
Jason Bean, long throw to the far side, and it's Grimm whipped down by Kamara. 3rd down.
Grimm again, slow to get up. Kamara, we have seen it. Bradford, we have seen it. They may not be the biggest guys, 185 pounds, but boy, do they like to play violent football.
Top JUCO safety coming here to TCU from Coffeyville here in the state of Kansas. Third down and 2.
Easy legs, Jason Bean, if it's not there.
Bean to throw a little bit high, and a beautiful adjustment by Arnold. Lawrence Arnold inside the 40-yard line.
They called him the best basketball player on this team. That's the one thing that the players could agree upon. He's about the only Jayhawk that could maybe compete on their basketball team. And right there on the alley-oop, he goes up and gets it with one hand. And becomes Jason Bean's best friend. That was a big 3rd down conversion they needed.
That dude went into the transfer portal, and after a conversation with Lance Leipold, stayed around to see this thing through. Bean wants to throw. Bean does throw. This side, and Skinner into the end zone. There's a marker down in the end zone. What a response to the pick for now.
The result of the play is a touchdown. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 83. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. Number 83's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul.
Lance Leipold is not happy with Skinner.
I can't tell you how good that throw was from Jason Bean after a horrific interception.
The previous play is under further review.
I think they're going to look at Skinner, whether or not he controls this catch all the way through the force with the ground. But this is one of those good old, if you're even, you're leaving, and he runs right by the back end of the secondary, doesn't catch it clean.
Ooh. Did the point of the ball graze the turf, and did he have control when the point of the ball?
He does all he can, and look at that bicep. That left bicep is squeezing that ball. He knows right there he didn't catch it clean, so he's got to use that left arm and the strength of that bicep to try to control it. There is some movement there, Jason. The key is this was called a catch. If this were called incomplete, there is no way they're reversing that to a complete. The fact that it's called complete, Mike Pereira, what do you see here as this ball moves a bit?
We always talk about the ball moving, but what we're looking for is actual loss of control. Does he have loss of control? Now, certainly the ball hits the ground, we see that, but he's got it cradled in his arm there, and that's the question that the replay official has to look at. But to me, Brock, what you said, the ruling on the field is a touchdown. So we'll get the call now.
After further review, the ruling on the field of a touchdown stands.
There you go, Mike. As you said, the standard matters.
Brock has been well trained over time. Again, that ruling basically controls, and it has to be obvious, clear and obvious to reverse, and it wasn't.
So the ruling is that he did have control. He maintained control. The touchdown stands for Skinner.
I think in slow motion we lose sight of how unbelievably difficult that is to do. That if you took the average human, Sonny doesn't like it, he's looking at the movement, and I think rightfully so here, the conversation is, hey, listen now, Sonny, it was called a touchdown. There is nothing in this booth that sits next to us to overturn that call. Can't do it.
If I'm reading lips properly, he said it's not even close.
No, it was close. It was definitely close, and it was the bicep of Quentin Skinner that did the job. These two undefeateds just throwing haymaker after haymaker after haymaker.
Yeah, college football has a lot of teams that are at the top quite often. But when you have a team that's 15 and 21 their last 4 years and they're undefeated and the other one hasn't won 5 games, 13 years, this is good stuff.
Look at your protection here, just good enough. Your buddy from Homewood.
Flossmoor.
There you go. In Chicago, Ford does just enough to hold on for dear life to allow Skinner on the back end. Right, it's that deep post concept. Once again, full speed, and he is running right by. And that is not easy for a backup quarterback to just throw that ball when they're even, trusting he's leaving. He did, and that's what draws the 15-yard penalty.
He doesn't even have the words for it.
No, and he knows, right? They've already kicked away. They kicked out of bounds. They pooch kicked. They're doing all they can to not allow Darius Davis to get involved.
And now they're in a real bind. But Jason Bean, how about what he's done?
Awesome.
To come in for an injured Jalen Daniels.
You know, and Allison hit on culture, and Jason, we do. We hear, especially from winning teams, is it the chicken or the egg? Is it the winning that creates the culture of the winning? But here's what you know. What are your eyes seeing? Your eyes are seeing a team respond. Your eyes are seeing the entire group buy in. And to me, that speaks for itself.
Well, you've been here. I've been here for basketball. There's belief now where there was simply a void. This one goes flying out of bounds. Look, college football is now taking its cues from college basketball. The Bruins are 5-0. You'll see them later on Fox. Kansas 5-0. Syracuse, go Orange, 5-0. Kentucky and North Carolina and Duke are 4-1. So what are we going to have in basketball
I don't
season
know, but
this year?
what would Calipari say about
that? Wow.
Yeah, I went there.
Just needling from your perch here in Lawrence.
It's called middle child.
What an amazing turnaround. Wayne Simeon is here. We showed him a little while ago up mingling with the fans. He has made his way to the even better seats.
You know, back in the day, Kansas football, they probably wouldn't wear their team issued gear around campus. The basketball guys have worn it very proudly for decades and decades and decades, but both are doing it now.
From the 50-yard line, because of the kickoff with the penalty, TCU has half of the field to go. Duggan to throw. He's got Johnston again, and he is a broken tackle machine. That's a gain of 14.
Yeah, he is so big in physical tempo, once again, from TCU, that you've got to come with a lot of force. But if you're out of control, he'll make you miss.
Here's Miller whirling and across the 30-yard line.
2 more missed tackles now. And this is some of just that overall athleticism, that overall speed, as we got a Jayhawk that's slow to get up.
It's Jeremy Robinson. Oh, it's Lee, actually. Malcolm Lee, the one who's down.
That's another shoulder. Logan's shoulder. Jalen's shoulder. Just a lot of physical contact today.
As you said, they are deeper on the defensive line than they have been. The offenses have really started to kick up some dust here in the third quarter. Duggan to throw to the sideline, incomplete. There is Davis, the target. It's 3rd and 4.
Feels like 4-down territory.
I agree with you.
Especially if you avoid the sack. And let's listen to this crowd. They've waited a long time for this.
Shirts optional. Duggan to Johnston. And that is a nightmare when you're trying to stop him for 4 yards in open space. Logan didn't have a crack at him, really.
How do you? Right? Just the blockers out in front. This is one of the concepts that the Riley brothers both love. Get the ball in space horizontally to your guys. And one-on-one now, it's piling up. I thought 27 missed tackles a week ago was outrageous. I mean, we're on our way here to, what, 14, 15, not even to the fourth quarter yet.
They are full of athleticism on the outside. TCU. There goes Johnston, who's been window dressing as well. Duggan throws it for the end zone. What an adjustment, Tay Barber. That is absolutely insane.
Jason, you can't throw this ball. You cannot throw into double coverage like this, Max Duggan. Yes, I can, because I got Tay Barber, whose name we haven't even called today, making yet another catch. Wow.
You asked Max Duggan yesterday what word he'd use to describe Tay Barber, and he said savvy, because he runs friendly routes for the quarterback. That is as friendly for a quarterback as you're ever going to see.
Jason, it was Skinner's bicep that somehow controlled the ball, right, all the way through contact. Tay Barber used his helmet. It was a forearm ball pinned to the helmet as DBs are reaching for it, and you're right. That's QB-friendly stuff. Oof. What is it with third quarters and back-to-back weeks?
This was a 10-3 ball game. You remember back in the day when it was 10-3? Tay Barber, by the way, named after the actor Tay Diggs, an old soft shoe in the back of the end zone there.
Well done. They call that a deep cut.
It is. It's a B-side. Extra point is good. It's 31-24.
When this ball left his hand, I said, no way. I mean, you can't throw it to Quentin Johnson. He was covered down the boundary. And then when I saw the trajectory towards the two defenders back there, Max, see, the perfectionist Max would have never thrown that. No, he wouldn't have the last 3 years. I'm not doing that. But the fearless play to win, Max will give his guys a chance, and you've seen what it's done to the confidence of Tay Barber and Quentin Johnson and Savion Williams, and can I continue on and on and on?
Well, they have 18 guys who caught a ball, so you could continue on and on and on if you wanted to.
Claire Conright, Darius Davis, Jordan Hudson, Blake Noel.
It's like the closing credits to our show. 3 straight touchdown drives in the game in 3.5 minutes on 14 total plays.
How many family members and friends?
He asked for 100 tickets. Max Duggan did.
He's putting on a show for him.
Kansas will get it back. The biggest sporting event on the planet returns to Fox Sports, and for the first time ever, it's taking over the holiday season. It's the FIFA World Cup live from Qatar, starting November 20th on Fox and on FS1.
Okay, Kansas, what do you got? We got 23 seconds left in the third quarter.
It's been outrageous. And exactly as advertised with these two teams so deft at punching the ball in this year. Devin Neal, oh, that's a lot of hat on a hat in the middle of that. Could hear that in Salina. Hey, the sports cars got out of the garage here in the third quarter, by the way. These offenses are flourishing in Lawrence, Kansas. Top of the Big 12 on the line. Is for living, let's partner for all of it. Third quarter, 42 points, 38 plays, 13 first downs, 331 total yards, and sorry, defenses. Devin Neal, another gash on the ground for Kansas.
Were you reading numbers?
I was, yeah.
That's a lot of them.
That was a lot.
And once again, look at this offensive line, just moving enough people. Those eyes, that's what's happened the last 2 quarters. 2.5 quarters, really. The eyes of these TCU defenders are just lost in the wash. In either the run game, the formation, the vertical passing game. Joe Gillespie's crew on that side of the ball right now is swimming.
So what do?
Simplify.
Devin Neal picking his way across the feet of the Jayhawk. It's a gain of 14.
That time it was a big left tackle, Bostic 68, that pushes right there. You can see him push Cooper down, creating a lane. And if you don't stop people between the tackles, there is nothing more demoralizing defensively. You feel helpless. And as an offense, man, does it fuel your tank.
22 straight starts for Bostic on the left side of that line, a South Carolina native. Bean, little freeze option here, scanning, now he's going to bail. Bean to throw after he bails, and this at the sideline is Arnold, who thought he got the foot in bounds, and he may have gymnastically, it is very close.
That field judge, you can see his eyes. He is looking right down the line. He could not be in better position, and he's trying to evaluate, is there any green? Is there any green between his toe and out of bounds? And there is nobody with a better look than this backfield judge. You'll see him right down the line. He is staring at it, and he did not hesitate. I think sometimes you can almost judge it by whether or not that back judge hesitates. He did not, but they are going to stop the game and take a look.
The ruling on the field for the incomplete pass is under further review.
Scott Gaines with the call.
Wow, back-to-back weeks. It's a shout out to the officials.
Staring right at it.
I mean, don't you have to trust his eyes there in that moment as much as anything? He's got an incredible look right down the line. That is not going to be possible for us to see what he is seeing right there.
And off these looks, there's no way to overturn the call.
This is a good look here. Great shot by our camera people. Are you seeing any green? Is there any green whatsoever between his toe and that out of bounds line? And the replay booth is looking at exactly what we're looking at, in kind of like the touchdown. If that were called a catch on the field, I think you would trust Scott Gaines' eyes. Here's another look.
Here's the look. Yeah, it looks like it's not the toe that goes out of bounds. It looks like it's the side of the foot as he pivots that ends up slightly out of bounds. And with that look, you can't overturn, can you?
This Lawrence Arnold can play, though. Quentin Skinner can play. These big receivers. Look at those. Come on. perfect first name to be a Jayhawk, huh?
Lawrence. They got Devin Neal, who's from Lawrence, and they got Lawrence Arnold, who's from DeSoto, Texas.
Whenever we sit with players, I love to ask them who's the best hooper on the team.
It usually starts a fight.
It usually does. Again, middle child instigator.
Here we go. Steve Barron, the call.
Review, the ruling on the field stands. Second down.
Arnold will tell everybody he caught that ball.
He caught it.
And he might inbounds.
He caught it.
And he might be right. But with that look that we had, there's no way you can overturn it. Incomplete.
And I love that Scott Gaines is right in position doing his job. We don't talk about officials. Right? Usually when their name is referenced, not a great thing. That time, Scott, perfect. Your eyes are right down the line to make the call.
Kansas fans this morning are very much into fertilizer. Bean on the run, and he hits a crease pretty hard, just short of the 40-yard line, 3rd and short.
We're not seeing this phase of it much, but this is what he's got in his back pocket. That's electric. That's why they've utilized him in different packages over the course of this season. Flat out, no hesitation. He kind of trips himself. But his speed on the goal line to the 50, they said the fastest Jayhawk on that offensive roster.
31 to Kansas at the 41.
Skinner in motion. 3rd down run. It is Neal, and he's got the first down.
Doesn't this almost feel like both offenses now have got this figured out?
Feels like make it, take it. It feels like last team to touch is going to win.
And it feels like if you don't go backwards, right? If you don't have a bad option pitch, if you don't have a holding call, if you don't have a false start, if you stay on schedule for either of these offenses, the defenses here in the final 15 minutes do not have an answer.
First and 10 Kansas at the 37.
Grimm is out. Emilion in motion. Bean runs that way, and Jason Bean with those quick strides inside the 30-yard line and hustled out by Perry.
And once again, it's a little bit of motion, right? You see the motion coming in the back 74% of the time. They pre-snap motion. An excellent job by Fairchild to use what we call an influence block to get into the way of Terrell Cooper.
First and 10.
Now we're seeing that wild card, right? That X factor that he has. A card that he can play of just unique game-breaking speed. And Joe Gillespie, the D coordinator, didn't have an answer.
Loads of time for Bean. On the scramble. Bean, the throw a little bit high. He wanted Grimm in the end zone. Hodges Tomlinson was next to him.
Okay, so this time you rush 3 and you play man. And finally said, hey, we got to just play man-to-man coverage out here. We got to trust Hodges Tomlinson. We got to trust all of our defenders. Hodges Tomlinson falls down. And that ball just sails a yard wide for Mr. Bean.
He saw the play come open and looked like he got a little amped on the throw. Ball on the deck again, and Neal has to cover it up. So quarterback and running back, not a lot of game reps. It's a loss of 4.
And there's your negative play. I mean, those are the things that just set you back to not stay on schedule, and you're right. Jason Bean has not been doing all of this work. You just can't take it for granted. It's like 3 different occasions. You just take something for a little bit granted. You don't have that urgency. It was a step.
The footwork, right?
Yes, it was the footwork. He didn't step and place the ball in the pocket. The attention to details. Hard for backups at times.
Had to reach forward instead. It's 3rd down and 14. They might try to get 7 or so here and then go for it. We'll see. Bean to throw, and he's got a completion. That's Skinner, and now it's 4th down and very short.
Well, we got a kicker that can pump up the crowd. We know that.
It's true. Borchilla can do that.
But he's also just 3 for 5 this season. You have to trust your offense, especially with what you've been doing to Joe Gillespie's defense.
There's the call. There's the urgency. 4th and 2 for Kansas. It's Skinner. by half a yard.
Oh, man, that call takes so much guts because it takes so long. The pre-snap motion, once again, the blocking down. And here he goes, running the 200 meters. Does he have enough? Does he have enough? Just enough to finish through the line and move the chains.
Jalen Daniels out in street clothes. His replacement, Jason Bean, has orchestrated Kansas being right in this thing, although a couple of mistakes have hurt his Jayhawks. Bean to Kai Thomas. Not a whole lot there. He's stalemated by Hodges Tomlinson.
Oh, he had a touchdown up the slot as well. I think you could hear the whole crowd say it. There was a wide open middle of the field, and Grimm is running the route. That's why you heard the crowd. Take a look at this. Look at Grimm on the little seam route right here. He's looking that way. He comes off of it. That's a touchdown if he throws a seed right to the S.
Felt the pressure up the middle coming and started to bail. Gain of 1 instead of a score. Casey, the tight end, in motion. It is Thomas into a host of Horned Frogs. Marcel Brooks, loss of 3. 3rd and 12.
Mindset-wise, I think defensively you almost say to yourself 4-down territory, because I think that man is right there. If they can get to the right number, right?
Whatever the magic number is. And now Lance Leipold has mentioned if the book says 7, he might want it to be 4 or 5. So we'll see what the call is from Kotelnicki. It's Bean on the run, and he breaks it down across the 15. 4th down coming up, and we'll see what they do.
Yeah, that's too far. I think you have to kick this.
You do?
Yep, and I think right there, the look of exasperation, maybe miss pulling the trigger on the seam route, a little outside stretch zone that you got stuffed today, and then that option that into the boundary, just played into TCU's speed, I think too much on 2nd and 3rd down.
31-yard.
Here's Borchilla. Call it 31 officially. From the hash mark. Snap it. Borchilla, it is up, and it is no good. TCU gets a stop. You could argue the play clock was at 0. The drive ends in 0. 31-24. It's
time really all game. A couple calls there that I think you're going to go back and question a little bit. Maybe that 1st down seam route as well for Jason Bean to be a little more aggressive.
Duggan. Johnston. And he is overrun after a couple of yards. Give him 3. He's been a very busy young man. Over 10 catches for Johnston today. Last 3 touches for TCU, all touchdowns.
Broke a bunch of tackles, some tremendous blocking. They've mixed a little bit of downhill run into it, as that defensive line for Kansas was really dominating the majority of the 3rd quarter.
Duggan, 20 completions, 12 to Johnston. On a 2nd and 7 run, it is Miller. And TCU came into the game with 7 3-and-outs in 4 games all year. Kansas needs one badly. What do you have, Garrett Riley? Johnston up top on the short side. Duggan that way, and a great play. Kobe Bryant overran the route, and he says, don't throw it my way.
Boy, we have not called his name today, have we?
No.
I mean, they've kind of gone away from this guy for a reason. Look at his eyes. He is reading that belt buckle, just like a great defensive Kansas Jayhawk basketball player. What are you looking at? You're looking at the belt. Don't you look at his feet. Don't you look at his eyes. You look at his belt. And once it stopped, he exploded for the pass knockdown and breakaway. And a critical 3 and out.
The closing speed there. And the nice catch by the official will stop play. Now that is some tremendous hands.
TCU substituted and late. The ball was not ready for play. We'll replay the down.
That is Marvell July. Gotcha.
Well, you don't think they worked the jets?
Please reset the game clock. 6:47.
I mean, now I'm seeing a video situation.
Yeah. On Mike Pereira's tape.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Get them all out there before the game. Work the gun. Athletes. This one makes it to Jordy Sandy, and his punt to Burrows in traffic. And let's see. The crowd wants a flag down. It's a 36-yard punt, no return. 31-24, 2 unbeatens and unlikely. 30 lead here in Lawrence, Kansas. And what a game, and 2 teams that have come out of thin air to trample the rest of the Big 12 so far this year. Jalen Daniels out of the ball game. Jason Bean has replaced him. The 1 interception is hurt. Kansas gets it back just short of the 40-yard line. Local product who 14 years ago remembers that national championship and how everybody spilled out into the streets. Would love to be part of a comeback here.
What's interesting about Kansas, number 3 in the country through 5 games, 60% third downs. And you said it earlier, 3rd and 7 plus extraordinary. Today, just 1 of 8 on 3rd and 5 or more. So as you start to call this game, as you start to play it out here down the stretch where every down and every possession is critical, getting the manageable 3rd down is going to be critical. Big time.
So TCU just swapped Newton to the far side of the secondary. Creeps toward the line as Bean readies to throw. Bean on the run now. Jason Bean does have the first down as he catapults himself into Skinner.
And you see, this is the danger. This is the conundrum that TCU is in. If you play man coverage and everybody runs with their man, yeah, there is a free linebacker, a lurker, but is he going to make that play in the open field?
The answer was no there. D. Winters is down.
He's the man trying to tackle Jason Bean there and does a pretty good job in the open field. But when you play hyper-athletic, hyper-fast QBs, playing man coverage, danger.
1st and 10 Kansas at midfield.
That's what you do, though. What do?
You play it, and then you better be pretty good in the red zone when they get down there.
They were the first half. Like this. Stack of tailbacks behind Bean. It turns into an option and a flip for Torrey Loughlin with a marker coming in.
That's going to be a hold on Jared Casey in the open field.
Holding. Offense, number 47. 10-yard penalty, of course, in the previous spot. First down.
Yeah, and he did not need to do this. You're going to see Casey right here. Kamara is beat. There's no way I think he's going to make this tackle. You can see how far away he is from the pitch. But you grab in the open field like that, that's going to draw the penalty. And that's one of those negative plays to take you off schedule. So hard to overcome.
It's the 4th penalty accepted in this ball game combined. First and 20 for Bean. Scrambling outside. He throws, and it's Grimm. And he gets away. Luke Grimm to the 30.
Luke Grimm.
Boy, do they have a tremendous sense of belief. Once again, you're rushing 3. You're giving Jason Bean an opportunity to extend the play, this time back across the field Grimm makes a terrific catch and even better body control. Look at that body control right there to catch that ball, to plant your foot, to spin around. High-level stuff.
He was their leading receiver that winless year a couple of years ago with 19 catches. That's their 8th play of 20-plus yards today. Things have changed in Lawrence, Kansas. Bean whips it down the field. End zone. Skinner. Yes! Quentin Skinner with a dazzling effort.
Does he keep his foot in bounds? How did he catch this?
Is the knee in? Whoa! I don't know, Brock.
See. Oh, that is close.
Mike Pereira, I know, is watching.
We can hear him.
He's living it with us right now. Mike, what do you see?
Oh, man, these are so tough. You look and you see. Now, we don't have anything that says the full knee has to get in. We don't have to have the front of the knee and the side of the knee. The decision's going to be, does that knee actually touch first before? It just looks to me like, again, I see, if I'm looking at this, I like it more as, actually more as incomplete. They're just going to have to see if they have a shot that shows that knee first touches there. But I think I like it more. I'm like you, Brock. And
I mean,
I think I like it more as incomplete.
Mike, in real time, and I know you don't look at it in real time. You're looking at every one of these replays, every centimeter. In real time, there was no way. In real time, there is no conceivable way that he runs 40 yards and somehow gets this knee.
But Mike, if you like it more as incomplete, is there enough to overturn based on that?
I don't think you can. Mike, I don't think you can overturn that based on what we have done over the course of the day.
I mean, that's the issue that they've been consistent on so far in this game. And Brock, you said it earlier. I mean, we're breaking these things down frame by frame, and they have to make these decisions in real time. And everything's got to be clear and obvious. It's got to be clear and obvious that it's incomplete. I feel like it's more incomplete than complete, but then the fact that it was called touchdown on the field, is it really enough to overturn?
How about the shadow?
Yes. The shadow affects the situation.
Only the shadow knows. That's the problem with that.
The ruling on the field of a touchdown stands.
Yeah, and you said it, Mike. Credit to this crew. They've been very consistent all day long.
Absolutely, and that's the way you want the football game officiated both on the field and in replay from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. So they've done a really good job with this.
You know, it was really great as I saw the replay guys at halftime. I said, whew, it was a quick moving first half, and not a tough call to be had. What an idiot I am.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they're huge fans of you, but they've done a great job. That is called a touchdown. It stands. And the extra point for Borchilla, who missed earlier, to try to make this a 4-point game. This is straight on through. How is this thing going to end, Brock Hewer?
Beautifully.
Nobody's backing down. Why would you?
We've seen this concept a bunch. Basically 200 meter and go get it. Go get it. That same deep over route in the speed and somehow the athleticism. I mean, he's just on a dead sprint. You see Lawrence Arnold take 2, come up, influence that secondary. And Quentin Skinner, Lawrence Arnold, they're not backing down from the speed and athleticism on the other side with TCU. And what a ball game.
It's a career-high 4 touchdowns for Jason Bean off the bench. This is put on the ground by Banks. And across the 25-yard line. Max Duggan today, the quarterback for TCU. Blow for blow with Kansas.
Gritty, tough. put your foot in the ground and just never, ever, ever relent and slide. Such an underrated runner. Country starting to feel that. I know Oklahoma did a week ago. An excellent passer with so many different weapons. And these are the moments you live for, Jason.
Kicking team number 17. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down, TCU.
Honestly, these are the moments as a kid in Council Bluffs, Iowa, playing for your dad in high school. You dreamed of playing in a venue like this with everybody against you with 4 minutes to play and the ball is in your hands to go win it.
Could barely hear the offside call that added 5 yards because this crowd is drowning out our referee, Steve Barron. Dug in a methodical roll. He did get it away for Kendre Miller. Ticking down to 4 minutes to go.
And the great ones in these moments remind themselves, I don't have to do anything different. I've just got to play on time. Got to trust the people around me, like Miller, like Williams, like Johnston, and put it in their hands.
Another handoff. It is Miller into space again. He got rid of Logan and finds his way to the 44.
Look at this grown man's legs. I mean, he is powerful at 220 pounds. You're not arm tackling him there. You're not arm tackling there. He's going to carry you for extra yards. He has been a force in the final frame.
He's got a touchdown in every game they've played this year. Kendre Miller, the junior. Feed him again. And he is dropped by Gilliard, the UCF transfer.
I got to be honest with you. I know tempo has been pretty good to TCU at times. They don't have an answer defensively right now for the Jayhawks offense. I'm maximizing every bit of this.
And minimizing possessions would be the goal there. Low snap. Duggan lets it rip down the middle for Johnston. That was a sizzler.
He loves this in cut. He loves throwing people open in the middle of the field. Doesn't really matter who it is. But to my point, you snapped it with 26 on the play clock on that last snap. 26 extra seconds. You're in control. You control the clock here.
3 timeouts for Kansas. It is Miller, and he is met by Rich Miller. For Kansas, how do you utilize these timeouts?
Well, you can score in a hurry. The clock stops. We know that in college football. With 3 timeouts, there's an eternity. Right there, hands on the hips. He's looking at the clock. He's chomping the gum a little bit harder. He's thinking exactly that. How am I going to manage this? With also the way TCU is going to clock manage with this play clock.
Still 15 right there. Duggan, pressure coming. He saw it. He releases into the end zone. Johnston with a flag coming in. It's a touchdown.
Touchdown TCU. There's a flag at the play.
That man is extraordinary.
That man is a bad man. Oh.
Pass interference, defense, number 2. That penalty is declined. Touchdown.
That foot was down. That first foot was down when his massive hands are wrapped around the ball. Not Pitts. Mitts are wrapped around the ball. I can't even speak with the playmaking going on right now. I mean, this is ludicrous. Time and again, these athletic, dynamic, electric receivers are just, I mean, that's through contact. He's getting interfered with. He catches the ball at the very last moment and has the mitts to bring it in.
He had 12 catches all year. He has 14 today. Quentin Johnston.
Get out of here.
He said before this season, I want to work on drops. I want to be able to secure the ball better. I mean, It's like he's got Velcro on.
You know, these receivers do these distraction drills, right? You do it in the warm-up line. You distract, put your hands on. You don't do it at full speed. You can never replicate that in a game. 40-some yards down the field. The replay booth is taking a good hard look at this. Did he have control when that first foot was down? I think that's what they're evaluating. I think it is a clear and definitive yes. He has control there. The foot was down all the way through. That is just filthy.
It's scary that he knew how he wanted to get better, considering the athleticism already and his success already. And Max Duggan, 23 completions, 14 to Lawrence.
You know what I'd never want to be?
What's that?
A defensive coordinator.
Ever?
I mean, look at Quentin Johnson. First touchdown, by the way, of the season. 12 catches coming into today. And it's just, honestly, it's as if, oh, really? It's like a slam dunk contest. Oh, you can do that dunk? Oh, that's cool. Let me do this dunk. Oh, you got that one between your legs? Let me do this reverse. Right? I mean, it's just one-upping the athleticism with every one of these on both sides.
Every time you think one is a 10, you then realize the scale wasn't deep enough. And so Kansas will have it in pretty good field position on this return across the 45-yard line by McBride. And Jason Bean, 4 touchdowns, career high off the bench.
6 all of last season with 8 starts. It started easy with some completions right away to wide open Jayhawks, like those first 2, and then the degree of difficulty cranked up a little bit. Had to throw this deep over on a dime to Skinner for his first of 2. Ran the same concept, came back to it for his 4th. Have yourself a second half.
Most in a half since Todd Reesing, who brought him to the Orange Bowl in 2007. Devin Neal shakes outside, meets Hodges Tomlinson, who ushers him to the boundary, and a flag comes in late.
Devin Neal. There's a flag on the play.
2 flags down.
That's going to be a hold again. Mike Nowitzki did not need to do this.
Holding, offense, number 50. 10-yard penalty from the previous foul. First down.
It's kind of like the last holding call, and they overcame it. Right in the previous drive, it was Casey. This time it's Nowitzki, and the ball had already bounced. You're going to see him right here in this tussle of muscle. But you just don't need it right here. That's the hold. They didn't call it initially. The play has already bounced. I know he doesn't know it. I know that's hard to do, but you got to let go.
Bean, that's batted, and it's incomplete.
And that may have been a good thing it was batted. He's trying to throw this deep over route even without the laces. Don't know how these kids do these days do that. But you saw there, I think for the first time, Bud Clark was trying to undercut that crossing route. A better job by Cooper to get his hands up. 2nd and 20.
31 career starts for Terrell Cooper. 2nd down for Kansas. 2nd and 20.
Man.
And Bean runs. Oh, man, what a hit. He nearly took as he slid. Marcel Brooks was right there with him. 3 timeouts, 1:05 to go. Bean to throw. He's got it for Skinner once again. Inside a minute and inside the 40.
Well, we've watched him run deep overs. This is just a perfect corner route. Sizes it up, sees the hips and eyes of Newton get lost, and he breaks it out, and Bean puts it on the money.
19-yard gain on the play. First and 10, Kansas is at the 35.
Joe Gillespie looking for one answer. That's all he wants. Kansas with its backup quarterback, who was the starter for the bulk of the season last year, Jason Bean. He felt the rush coming. He sails it high and nearly intercepted.
Oh. And that was nearly your one answer right there.
It was Bud Clark who had 2 hands on it.
It was Bud Clark that was violently slamming his helmet down. about an hour ago into the ground. That would have been a tough interception. That is not a gimme by any chance, but inches away from the takeaway.
Jalen Daniels can only watch after the injury late first half. His understudy throws it wide and incomplete. Devin Neal had first down eyes and just a little bit of a parachute.
Yeah, you can almost feel this, and I think this is why Jalen Daniels is the starter. Jason Bean overcomes these, but there's just times where there's not that urgency. Okay, good fundamentals, put it right on him. And you can see his hands immediately go right to his face like, oh no.
It was there.
Oh, you couldn't devise it any better. A perfect man beater. And now another 3rd and 10.
It's Fairchild in motion. He's got a couple huge catches today. They'll go the other way for Neal, and he is dragged down by Brooks. What a play by the LSU transfer.
Okay, and the crowd wants a horse tackle here. They are not going to get it. That was not the call. That is tremendous speed in the open field. But the key, let's see if it is a pull backwards. You can have your hands up by the shoulder pads as long as you don't pull. Oh, that's pretty tight. That's pretty close. I think I like that is a no call. The fans don't. Does he immediately grab and pull backwards? It's almost horizontal, right?
It's almost sideways.
It is.
Yeah.
And that is a tough call in the heat of the moment. You could see Brooks knows it. Kind of pulls his hand away as well. But I think that was more lateral than it was, because if it was directly backwards, Lance Leipold would be having further conversation as to why that was not a horse collar penalty.
Now they have to burn the timeout, which almost guarantees that Kansas won't see the ball again. Jason Bean with Thomas in motion to stay alive for Kansas. Standing tall, he throws incomplete for Arnold.
Are you serious? I think we get away with a little bit of a hold here on Josh Newton, the corner. This one too is awfully tight. You're going to see the in route here. Excuse me, on the outside, the arms are wrapped around. Wow.
And it did impede him from
Yes,
getting
it did.
to the football. Pressure from Hodge, and Newton had the hands in that way of saying I didn't do anything. Now
Wow.
2 timeouts left, but it's not going to be enough. Kansas using that prior timeout with the tackle in bounds makes it so TCU can kneel down, and the Horned Frogs will go to 5-0. What an afternoon in Lawrence.
What a game. And a game of inches, and the two right there, and I love that embrace. You heard cheers from these fans, these Jayhawks fans, proud of their effort on the field. Sonny Dykes, 5-0 for the first time here at TCU in his first year. Awesome stuff. A game of inches, man. So many enormous plays.
Jalen Daniels' undefeated Kansas team falls at the hands of the TCU Horned Frogs, who last were 5-0 when that man was an analyst in Fort Worth. And TCU is unbeaten. Kansas's dream of an unbeaten season ends at home. 2 upstarts creating friction and electricity all day long. Downstairs, Allison is the winning quarterback, Max Duggan.
Max, so much build up to this game, and it was a back and forth battle from the start. Can you describe what it was like to play in this one?
I mean, that's what college football is about right there. In this atmosphere with a team effort going back and forth, changing leads. That's what college football is all about. That's what's fun about this.
Can you just describe the playmaking we saw on the field from your wide receivers and the confidence you have from guys like Quentin Johnson going up and making plays?
Yeah, Quinn's making my job easy, being able to throw him the ball. He's a special player. He's a one of a kind. And the guys all around, just get him the ball, letting them, do what they do, what they're best at. And it was a lot of fun to see him out there today.
What does this TCU program showing the country now standing at 5-0, undefeated on the season to start?
I think that just the work that we put in. We understand that there was a lot to be done. We've stayed kind of true what Coach Sykes has said, but we know that we have a lot to get better at.
Max, thanks for the time. Congrats.
Thank you.
He sounds like a coach there, huh?
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
That's back-to-back weeks at a loss for words. Extraordinary playmaking, a tough call there, no call. I know Kansas fans are going to look at that one, rightfully so, time and again, but should not get in the way of just extraordinary playmaking by both teams.
Kansas goes to Oklahoma next week. How about TCU home for Oklahoma State in Fort Worth? The Big 12 lead likely on the line. Good games follow us. We'll take it. My goodness, what a scene here. For our entire crew, for Bo Garrett, our producer, for Darren Foster, our director, everybody in the trunk, for Allison Williams downstairs, he's Brock Heward. I'm Jason Benetti. 38-31 TCU. Out to Eric Collins and Devin Gardner in Stillwater, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. Thanks for joining us. So long from Lawrence.
Big doings in Stillwater.